Bottle Stadium is the scene for Sunday football between the Giants in 9th position and the St Kilda Saints in 13th position. A lovely day for football, a little crisp up here in Sydney, but the sun is shining and the Saints are just coming out onto the ground as I welcome Premiership star with the Brisbane Lions, Alistair Lynch. The Saints back on the winners list last week.
Yeah, absolutely, Dermot, and looking forward to this game. Obviously, the Giants have lost their last 3 games, and the Saints, they haven't strung back-to-back wins together this year. They had a super impressive victory by 110 points over the Bombers last week. Can they back it up today is the big question.
Well, they certainly have got some scoring potential. They've proven that over recent weeks. Joshy Bruce has been the leader of the new breed of this young forward line for St Kilda. As we have a look at the makeup here, Joshy Bruce for 37, Membry 7, and those 4 players round out at 67 goals between them. And you add in Nick Revolt as well.
Yeah, and Adam Snyder there is the other experienced player in that forward 6. And I think it's a really impressive blend. But it's all about maintaining the intensity and pressure on the ball carrier when it's coming out of their forward 50. And those repeat entries is the big thing for St Kilda, I think.
Well, one thing they certainly did last week, we talk about repeat entries inside by a foot. They marked the ball inside 50. Season high in the league, 26 marks inside 50.
And it was led by that man there we were speaking about before, Josh Bruce, with 5 marks inside 50. Membry, only very early in his career, 6'2", leading player. David Armitage, we've spoke about him consistently over the last 6 weeks in the midfield, but he can push forward and mark the ball. So the fact that they're just not one-dimensional, which has been probably the issue in recent years, all about Rewalt, they've got a great spread of targets inside 50.
And no doubt about that. Tim Membry on screen there. Just 9 goals for him for the season so far, but a valuable addition up in that forward line. He's keeping the young number 1er, Paddy McCartan, out of a spot at the moment. The Giants enter the arena. They're on a streak of 3 losses. They're better performed than that. They were unfortunate or just got pipped at the post last week by a very highly fancied Richmond.
Yeah, it led at every change last week against the Tigers. I think the major concern over the last 5 weeks is they're getting scored heavily against. I mean, they're averaging 99 points against over the last 5 weeks. So no doubt Leon will be looking to make sure he arrests that sort of nasty trend.
Big mature body of Adam Tomlinson comes in. They've named him in the back pocket. He'll probably get one of the key posts down back. Hasn't played a lot down there, but he's got 40-50 games of league footy under his belt. And in the forward half, they've still got Jeremy Cameron and Cam McCarthy, 2 young guns who've kicked over 50 goals between them.
Yeah, with Tomlinson, Canelio and Haynes comes into the side, and their depth through the midfield is super impressive. With the Saints, they make no changes after that impressive win last week. I think their back 6, there's a lot of experience back there. Gilbert, Fisher, Dempster, Montagna will roll back off the wing and play across the half-back line as well, and up through the midfield. To really like what Weller's doing in his 2nd year off the rookie list from the Gold Coast Suns, having his career best season.
Probably get Dylan shielded, and if you performed like St Kilda last week, you wouldn't make a change either.
I don't reckon you would, Derm.
Well, the coach of the GWS Giants is Leon Cameron, and he is with Ben Dixon.
Leon, this year, first quarters on average haven't been great for you boys, but last week's game, fantastic. Back here at Spotless, they must be up and about for this one.
Yeah, we addressed that over the bye, Dicko, and we were really pleased with our first quarter against Richmond, but you're right. I think previously, for the last 3 or 4, we'd actually been beaten. So it's a challenge today. I mean, obviously, we're coming against a side that's in red-hot form, so we're going to make sure that we come that quarter-time break and all those little indicators are stacking up our way.
We can look at all areas, but the forward half's pretty critical about locking that ball in, denying, obviously, the transition from St Kilda. But are you going to change that mix up without the disruption too much?
No, I mean, look, obviously Rory Lobb and Tom Downey have come into the team and they're playing that ruck forward role, so they'll continue to do that. Jeremy and Cam McCarthy's there as well. I mean, Adam Tomlinson's come back into the team, but he'll play at the back end. So we'll continue down with our 3 talls and our 3 smalls down there as well. But you're right. I mean, if you don't lock it in against St Kilda, before you know it, it's down the other end, and you know, hopefully it's not in Rewalt's or Bruce's hands.
And you mentioned Downey and Lobb. Without Mumford, you're in the red zone a little bit, but as expected, with the big job that Mummy does, it's taken a little bit, hasn't it? But they're only limited in their game so far.
Yeah, it is. And look, I was really proud of how Tom Downey went. You know, it was his first game in about 2 years. So, I mean, these young ruckmen have been waiting for their turn. They've been given an opportunity. You know, Rory Lobb gets an opportunity as well. I mean, Long has a really good season ruckman now. He's played all games this year at St Kilda. So it's a huge challenge, but one we were looking forward to.
Good luck today, Leon.
Thanks, Dicko. Cheers.
Rory Rory Lobb on camera there, 206 centimetre ruckman forward. He's a capable forward too. And I was just thinking about the big Mummy. I went and spoke to him before. I said, how you feeling, big fella? And he said, I'm getting bored.
He would be getting bored. You wouldn't want him getting bored and too angry. But the Giants will be looking forward to getting him back next year, no doubt.
Tom Downey on screen there, and that looks like little Jack Sinclair as well. So, by God, there is some talent on display here today at Spotless Stadium. Cam McCarthy on screen. We're going to take a break and be back with the first bounce on the other side.
Back once more with an opportunity goes Jack. He's in absolutely everything at the moment. The dribble is gone. Saints are just pouring it on at the moment. They can do no wrong. Canelio caught by the leg. Back to McCarthy. Goes for high shot. Unbelievable. Stolen out of the middle by Sinclair. He's stalking the goals as well. Runs to 50. Drives it long. It's party time. Bring out the hundreds of thousands of sandwiches. How good's this to watch, Saints fans?
Might be one of the few spots in Australia with bright sunshine at the moment. Spotless Stadium here in Sydney. Great to have your company wherever you're watching around the land. The Giants and the Saints. Nick Riewoldt in the middle with Callum Ward, the two captains. Nick Riewoldt knocked out against GWS when these two teams met earlier this year. Round one win for GWS, but a narrow win at that. Just a 9-point victory. We expect this to be close as well. Also joining us for the commentary on the boundary line, 200-game Hawk, Ben Dixon. Welcome back, Ben.
Thanks, Dwayne. It's great to be here. It's going to be a great clash today. I think the front half of both teams is the most interesting today, but I want to focus on Josh Bruce. He's had an outstanding start to his year so far. We know he's kicked the 37 goals, taken 44 marks inside 50, but it's the pressure as a forward you look at. You know he can kick the goals, but when you can get up the ground like he does and get back, he's at 2 against 1 here, and they say as a good forward growing up, don't give up the chase because they could get struck down by lightning, and this is why, because you get your opportunity. 2 on 1, he just bides his time, puts enough pressure on for the support, but as a key forward, this is outstanding work, and now it's 3 on 1, he gets the reward, gets a shot on goal just outside 50. He's been nothing short of outstanding this year, but his work off the ball has been the biggest improvement so far, and complimenting Nick Riewoldt today, absolutely critical. We know there's some defenders come in. Tomlinson, we spoke to Leon Cameron, he may go back. Nick Haynes is in, but I can tell you right now, Josh Bruce is in great form, and GWS need to be right on their game. Something to look forward to in the first quarter.
Absolutely, Dicko. You've got Josh Bruce with 37 goals for the season. Jeremy Cameron with 37 goals for the season. For the record, Josh Kennedy leads the race for the Coleman with 50 goals so far. And you've got arguably the best St Kilda player of all time, Nick Riewoldt, who's in good form. 290th game last week and hits 291 when they bounce the ball today. He'll probably finish the year 299 and hit 300 next week. But there are some big stars starting to emerge as well from the young crop from both teams today. Downey in the ruck against Longer, who also had a good day at the office last week against the Bombers in that massive Saints win. We're underway. Longer almost got his own clearance. He kicked it straight into Dunstan's face. Armitage got it up to Nunes, bangs it into the space over the back. Race on. Membry won't get there before Buntine, who lets it run through.
And Armitage just takes up from where he left off last week, and every week basically.
Won't that be a nice, pleasant affair between Armitage and Callum Ward? There'll be
hard.
Yes, there'll be a little bit of body contact in that one.
And the good part is there's a crowd here today in full voice early. I mentioned the sunshine. It's not a bad day here in Sydney at all. It's cold, but by Southern State measurements, it's a pretty good day. Fisher can't get there to attempt that mark. Dempster caught. Good tackle by Lobb. Umpire said ball. Umpire Scott Jeffrey, who was on the spot. So he backtracks. He's got a long leg. Just depends on whether he wants to roost it and have a crack from there or not.
Well, he's that tall. The foot travels about 6 feet from the back of his rump to the strike of the ball.
Had the leverage, and Longer gets back. His opposite ruckman takes a good saving mark last line of defence.
Leon Cameron would be disappointed with that effort. Just that was an uncontested mark in a group of 10 players.
And Downey was in the middle of it. Webster, nice little 1-2.
They ran that out well.
Fumbled, but got it to Stephen, and he's away. Looked around, used his ground. Shield shakes Loney a little too easily. Whitfield goes back. Shaw, Griffin, little fumble. Webster put enough pressure on him. Stephen, and they might pay here. Over the back. Weller can't get there. Another behind.
Benny Dixon down at ground level before the game. It's a fluky breeze somehow because of the direction it's coming from, the circulation of the wind once it gets under the stand. It seems to be favouring both ends once you get forward of centre.
It's exactly what we spoke about in the pre-game with Leon. Just that forward exit as GWS. It was just about 30 seconds ago. But the transition from St Kilda from rounds 10, they're number 1 from turnovers in their back half to obviously transition to forward 50. GWS got to be right on that. I did speak to Leon about that in terms of locking the ball in. It was too soft early.
Shield gave it to Devon Smith. Tight ropes the boundary line. Noon saw it roll past, and then a little high almost on Palmer. Should give you a high-scoring game then, Dermot, if both teams are kicking with it.
Kicking with it. Don't know how long that's going to last. Well, you can't get the toss wrong.
But you'd rather lose it, so you don't get blamed. You don't want to be accused of kicking into the wind with winning the toss.
Yeah. I wonder if Trent Cotchin's watching the game.
From the palm down. Palmer from the palm down. Stolen by Devon Smith. In that congestion. Kept it running, but he's tackled nicely into the deck. Open forward lines at both ends. So over the back of the last pairing. Plenty of space to kick into. Callum Ward tackled to the ground.
Thanks, boys. Thank you, Callum. Thanks, mate. Look this way.
Umpire got hit. You heard the scream. Jeez, heard it, right?
Stayed upright though. Powers on, just backing out.
Stay that meter. Thanks, Billy.
Nunes just was in the road.
Umpires just talking to each other. The team spirit.
Let him run.
Umpires talking to each other, watching for the third man up, as has been done in most games since about round 5. Rewalt can't lay the tackle. Geary.
He did well. He did really well, Nick Revolt. That was professionally done. That was all those hundreds of games of experience, and he just laid enough contact to impede the run.
Again, the congestion. Ward took it out of the air. Montagna flicks it wide. Dunstan, who was the sub last week, came on when the game was over. Gets the start this week. Montagna feeds it back. Fisher, stand-start kick. Got under it a lot. Armitage pushed out legally according to the umpire. Griffin, Whitfield. Put down, downfield kick, and it'll be McCarthy's ball. And reported.
So GWS don't want to do is reverse this kick. You're just a little late on the chin. Billy Longknap just cocked Lockie Whitfield.
Yeah, open hand. I think it's the world's crudest attempt to smother. Didn't look terribly serious, and the effect wasn't great, so he should be fine.
So McCarthy from directly out, from inside 50. There's the start they were after.
Takes him to 30 goals for the season, Cam McCarthy.
First goal, the afternoon to the GWS Giants.
So he's up pretty quick. Watch the right hand. Oh, actually, geez.
So Longer back in the ruck. Might need to make the most of this game. Might miss one, perhaps, depending on what the match review panel come up with this week, and we never quite know. Downing to Cornelio. Nice feed for Law. Cornelio spins out of one tackle into another.
Well
got a kick over his head.
Wasn't that clever?
Steele got up with it, and he manufactured a kick. Chaos at the moment, and Weller caught high, gets a free.
No, he actually called it
Drag
the arm, but he had the ball.
And it wasn't a marking contest.
Watch this. Watch how he gets. That's clever to get rid of it. He's got the ball. Now he's dragged the arm.
Well,
why is that a free kick?
Exactly. It's
It
not
can be a tackle.
It's not a marking contest because it wasn't 15. There's been
That's weird.
There's an umpiring change as well. Andrew Stevens, Scott Jeffrey and Lee Fisher were down to umpire this game. Jason Armstrong's been brought in. The ex-Saint Lee Fisher taken out of the game. So won't be umpiring today. Cameron cuts it off. Spears it inboard to McCarthy.
We have a kick from the same sort of range. Defensive pressure seems to be right on for the Giants to start with. Caused the turnover then.
For his second.
I thought they got it out of their back line very easily the first time, St Kilda. But it's almost like that gave the Giants a sighter on them, what they wanted to do, and they've held it in the next two times.
And that's to the near side.
We get a look at this zone. There's only two men in the centre of the ground from the Giants. The rest are forward of the centre square. So 16 in the kick-in zone and 2 anchoring back beyond against 4. So if it gets out there quick, which it's not going to, they would have had a whip hand, but had the whip hand.
Well, they've still got the players out the back. If the Saints get this, they're right in.
Scully got his own crumb after getting the fist in the way. Smith gave it out just in time. Palmer, well, the umpire was watching that and he almost ducked his head hoping for a high, which can lead to holding the ball.
I thought he probably he's one tough cookie, Reece Palmer, and he's actually trying to go around and pressure Dempster, who in turn is playing on McCarthy. But I thought he probably had prior opportunity, then should have got done for holding the ball.
Yeah, it's one way we can eliminate a couple of stoppages. If a player ducks, it's either too high or it's holding the ball. Kick around the body. Williams thumps it to the boundary and we'll get another stoppage, a ball in.
They've been able to play the game in the forward half of the Giants at the moment for this game so far, so they'd be very impressed with the start. They're working hard at the ball. Their tackling pressure from St Kilda is up, so both teams pretty much on, just the Giants are flowing the ball much better.
Geary got on the end of Longer's perfect knockdown. Membry kept it in, but overcooked the handball, and Ross couldn't keep it alive. Round 14 clash, just 8 home and away games left after today for all teams. Getting to the pointy end of the season, and for GWS, they can be back inside the top 8 tonight if they win. That's what's on the line.
Oh, that's well done by Armitage. That's what he does so well. Didn't get it out, but wasn't he good at picking it up below his knees and tried to bullet through to the other side. Watch this. Low pick up. He's under real pressure. That's great play.
Montagna, 31 possessions and a couple of goals last week. Lee Montagna, one of the stars in that massive win over Essendon for the Saints, their biggest win of the year.
Benny Dixon, are you surprised Maverick Weller hasn't gone to the most dangerous Giants midfielder, Shield?
I'm not overly surprised, Dermot, because they haven't been super successful in their stoppages in the last few weeks.
Yep.
They're setting up really defensively, and we've seen that with the saturation of their forward line. They're doing the same in the midfield. I don't think they're conceding, but they're setting up well enough defensively that they can get the ball and go offensively as they're doing right now in this little bit of play.
Gee, an amazing slick turnover here for the Giants. Just as you thought the Saints were going to attack through the savage kick. They're on the rebound. Dempster gets back. Smith edged him out, pushing the back.
Dodged one there, the Saints. Great ball movement. We're at the other end of the ground. Josh Bruce just slipped when that pass was coming in towards him. The surface is fairly lush, so you'd want to have the very long sprigs in if you're going to stand up.
Buntine crashes that, but down to Armitage. Membry
He's got Montagna has sneaked way out the back. Tom Scully's his opponent and is not in frame.
That'll work though, Loney. Well, he thought about playing on.
Well, he's called play on.
Not 15 now, Stephen. Hunter down from behind. Just got a handball away. Shield got his arms free. Williams tackled to the deck.
Great chase.
Yeah, and just a handball
Griffin.
in time. Congested again. Loney throws himself out hoping for a free. Bruce got it back. Green hammers it towards the wing, and Geary, little bump after the mark, but split second after.
They need a big switch on.
Fisher's right in the centre circle. They're not going to pull the trigger on that one.
So Rewald stands under this. Four around him.
Ooh.
Edged out of the contest.
Gee, that was a deliberate takeout then, so he couldn't get a jump at it.
Treloar, Scully, Shield.
They've shelved that rule, Derm, I think.
I should send the memo out so we can all at least be on the same page. Dempster. Palmer hunts him down. Turnover. Scully. Sidestep was good. Saw an option inside. Devon Smith. He wanted to go inside initially. Does now. Treloar to Cameron. Lace out. 50 from goal.
Now, yeah, he's just put the hand up. Now, Jeremy Cameron kicking to this end will get the thing through 15 to 20 foot off the ground. That's about 6 metres in the old, I think, Frenchie, isn't it? 5 to 6 metres.
Conversion.
I keep getting told off for using the old feet.
As you mentioned,
measurements.
as you mentioned, also a little bit of breeze helping as well to the right of screen, and I think he's going to cover this quite easily.
Kicked 4 goals against the Saints round 1 in that 9-point GWS win at Etihad. That was never in doubt.
The ball movement off half-back again has been pretty good from the Giants. Here's the block on Rewald.
Yeah, it's an imitation jump, as if I'm going for the ball,
imitation.
and the umpire didn't pick up on it.
And here's the transitions from behind the goals. The second, third lead from Jeremy Cameron to push back towards the goal square, which we know he does so well, but then push up at the ball carrier and was honoured with a nice pass.
Good start for the Giants. Their coach, Leon Cameron, has been good enough to join us in his coach's box. Leon, welcome. You happy so far?
Yeah, pleasing, Dwayne. We're getting some run off half-back. Our defence has been pretty good, closing space. In saying that, probably the first 3 or 4 minutes they got out the back a couple of times.
Just wait on this play here, Leon, and let you focus on it.
And Stephen, smothered, ricochet, Buntine, Scully, Ward, Devon Smith, a little pop pass into space. Longer got there, made it his. Webster inside, Weller, Dunstan, and the turnover, Haynes.
So, Leon, when the ball's, when you're guarding the opposition kicking and you have 2 anchored back against 4, does that have a little bit of a flutter of fear for you, or you got to trust the 16?
No, it does actually. We can't play that way because you've actually got to come forward a little bit more because they'll end up overlapping and running. So we're going to be a bit better than that.
Montagna about to send the Saints inside 50, squeezes it low to Rewald. 1, 2, not the third grab. Almost stole the crumb. Griffin shoveled it out. Buntine over it. Nunes backs his way out of the congestion. Armitage on the left, sized it up, touched on the line, right on the line, a fingernail on it.
Yeah, just in time, and Armitage is certainly getting involved. Lee Montagna, Leon, it looks like he's finding a little bit of space. I mean, he's had 4 disposals, but he hasn't actually been honoured on all occasions. Is he a concern at this early stage?
Yeah, he's obviously a very, very good player. Whether he plays wing, half forward, he does obviously run hard, we know that. We've just got to make sure that, the guys that are on him play two-way footy, whether it's Scully, whether it's Lockie Whitfield. We've got to make sure we play some really good two-way footy.
Leon, thanks for your time. We'll talk to you a bit later on in the afternoon. Savage goes all the way back. Leon Cameron, the coach of the Giants, giving us some of his time. Nunes Gilbert in game 150, so a milestone for him today.
That's a great kick.
Geary, short, and it works. Sinclair. Weller. Geary. Feeds it back. Webster. And just over the head of Schneider.
Poor selection of the moment when to rush forward, when to rush and take that half chance at either hitting the lead up deep inside 50 or actually take the shot at goal. They loitered outside just around the 45 to 55 metre mark.
Canelio scrambles it to Jack Steele.
Comes a time when you've actually got to lay the ears back and say, this is as good as I'm going to get as an opportunity.
Sort of slipped there, so it is soft underfoot. There was a lot of rain here yesterday. They get away with it, Devon Smith.
It's fairly firm, Dwayne, underneath the top inch, if you know what I mean, out on the surface. So the ground is fairly hard and firm, but that top inch is a little soft, and the stops will cut through, and that's what I reckon you're seeing a little bit of the slipping over at the moment.
And long stops are a thing of the long past.
Do they make long stops anymore?
I bought a pair in Europe on holidays this year just for nostalgic value.
Williams takes off. Wants the 1-2 and gets it from Shield. In fact, the 1-2-3 had to give it back again. Short pass option, Green. Waiting for the Cameron lead. He waited, put it inside the hole. Perfect.
That was perfect. Perfect coordination between both forward and midfielder. Green waited for him to get back towards the goal square, knowing that he was going to turn and go, and just waited the ball out in front.
Great thing for Jeremy Cameron is that's his third hit up, and he's been on it on 2 of those occasions, so he's coming at the ball carrier, which is now going to put Gilbert in a state of which way does he go.
Yeah. He's not the kind of player the Saints want to get confidence up. He's got 2.
To continue on with that, Derm, Jeremy Cameron is one of those players that, more than a lot of other forwards, is running back towards goals to kick goals.
Yeah.
And when he can, at times, get down on confidence, he tends to go back too often. So see on that occasion, push back, but Green was waiting for him to go, knew the space was there. St Kilda didn't get a midfielder back to block things up, so really good work, and nice finish from Jeremy Cameron as well.
Giants have taken 8 marks. 6 of them have been on the lead so far, and they're averaging over the last month 10 a game.
You can just tell the bye, boys. We know in the season it's a great chance for the players to get rested, but this is how far the Giants have come. Going into the bye, they were the worst team in the comp for first quarters. I mean, down 74 points on average. Since the bye, they've won their first quarters, and convincingly. I mean, it's just a true testament to the maturity of the group, but more importantly, how well they're coached. And today they've started so well in terms of their pressure.
Scully, he goes for home. Just misses. Yeah, it's been an outstanding first term. They haven't finished games recently as well as they would have liked. They led by 15 points at three-quarter time against Richmond last week and lost, of course.
Got the stackers there.
Lost their past 3 games, the Giants.
Jeez,
but they're on track to get it back here. Williams.
Sorry, Dwayne. St Kilda need to tidy up their kicking between the 2 arcs.
Ward. Green. Collects. Lob. He does just that. He lobs it to Cameron.
And Jeremy Cameron was all but 10 metres by himself at the top of the goal square. So on the back of a turnover, again, the Giants have been able to rebound quickly and by foot get the ball to Jeremy Cameron.
Alarm bells are ringing for the Saints right now. Cameron has 3.
So that's the concern, is that they're paying the penalty, the Saints, for their turnovers going to half forward, and they use the ball very well. Missed the target there, but clean hands, really important. Too much space, just laying off the Giants or forwards.
Well, that looked like Jack Steele who ran into the pocket, and Jimmy Webster should have gone to him, and that left, as you see, Jeremy Cameron uncovered at the top of the square, Lynchy.
Not often you see that. Not a bad gig if you can get it. Alistair,
you played several hundred games of footy and kicked 600 or 700 goals. How many times do you reckon you were left uncovered at the top of the goal square?
Not often. I'll tell you what, I'd be filthy if I was the full back as well.
Shield gets the takeaway. McCarthy goes back. Whitfield
Dropped Robertson back now as an extra into the back line, just to try and stem the flow.
Green set the last couple of goals up, and he sits this up in hope. Lobbs down there, Cameron's down there. Palmer had a little piece of it. Armitage to Geary. Dangerous. Nunes just took it out in time.
So the Giants are winning in clearances. They're +4 to this stage of the game. Contested possessions +11. It's not only when they get possession, they're actually maintaining it at the moment.
Geary hassled.
He's taken 5 marks, Jeremy Cameron. One of them, the Joe the Goose, over the back, and we love them.
It's a good confidence builder, not only for him, but the midfield. They're confident to go to him.
McCarthy's getting a bit of it just outside 50 as well, so it's all working to perfection. Whitfield couldn't get that away. Weller couldn't get it away. Devon Smith.
This is the pressure St Kilda have been putting on opposition teams over the last month, and they've been pretty well performed in that pressure rating. But this tackling pressure in the Giants' forward half is what the Saints have been doing.
St Kilda hold.
Got to maintain possession here somehow. They're missing targets, those ones.
There you go. Weller misses it on cue for you. Haynes, Buntine. It's wide, and it's too wide for Canelio to get near it. It's hard to believe this is the same St Kilda that demolished Essendon by 110 points last week, their biggest win of the year. Robertson.
This is danger.
Sits it up a little.
Well
Good
done.
mark, Fisher experience there.
They're down to 48% kicking efficiency, the Saints. So only 1 out of every 2 kicks is hitting the target.
GWS 70% by foot.
That's better.
Chips it to Geary. He's got the runner. Robertson sits that on Membry a little. Clever. Buntine, not 15. Scully to set it up. At Green wide. Causes the spill. Nunes flicks it out. Membry caught by the ear. Play on. Downey. Scully. At the way from Griffin by Geary. Stolen back again. Green. Out to Palmer. It's got lobbed just over the top. Waiting for it. Caught high.
Oh, he didn't have to rush him. Chips Fisher. He had an
he's
ugly
taken
bounce.
off on him too. Sold him that one nicely and then kicked it out of bounds. No, just scrapes it in for a behind.
I think Reece thought, well, I know a man's got to know his limitations. I'd prefer to be on the move playing on from 35 than a set shot from 50.
Yeah. 5 metres outside my range, so I'm off. Scotty Fisher, I seen Fisher be pretty disappointed.
Scotty Fisher?
Scotty Fisher. North Melbourne Giants from 110 years ago.
7-footer.
Rewalt. Nunes. Montagna. Can they steal one late here, the Saints?
That's a great
get their
kick.
confidence back. Loney.
Savage wants it wide, but he's got to take the shot, you would have thought.
NAB Rising Star nominee last round for his 18 possession game in the win over the Bombers. Jack Loney.
Now, as he watches this ball go away from him, it'll go from his left to right.
For their first. Kept it low. And are behind. So 4 scoring shots, 4 behinds, the Saints.
Inside 50's fairly even. Giants up 2.
That's out of play.
I reckon that was over the line.
Yep,
There you go.
I reckon they dodged a bullet there, the Giants. Jack Loney politely inquired.
He was too young. Should have screamed for that one. Griffin.
It'll be coming, though.
Not a lot's gone right for the Saints in this opening term, it must be said.
You would have been quite polite in your early days, I would imagine, as well,
And
right?
still now, do.
Yep.
Again, third man up, Scully. Down to Ross. Buntine.
Defending well, Buntine.
Membry. Schneider. There's the defence again.
Yep.
Diving smother from Buntine. Stop what might have been a goal.
He's actually done really well in the one-on-ones so far. Callum Ward directing traffic.
Dunstan dragged down. Scramble clear by Treloar. Fisher comes hard. Couldn't hold it. Savage.
That's a good hit.
Weller. And he hits a good spot. Top of the square. Bruce was down there. Couldn't mark it. Buntine thumped it back to a dangerous spot. Longer straight up in the air. Play on us, not 15. Steele turns it over. Bruce, another brilliant smother. Core this time. Shaw picks it up. Rolls it to half-back. And Whitfield takes it out.
That is real good urgency, Lynchy, the way they're defending that.
Well, they've certainly brought their pressure game, whether it's smother, pressure acts, tackles. They're leading the tackles on the ground after being a bit slow to start with, but 25 to 18 in front for the Giants on the tackles.
Short throw in. Rewalt read it, took it out of the air, went to Bruce, held by the jumper. Loney left it behind and nearly kicked out of his hand, but brushed through for a behind.
I thought with Joshy Bruce, who's what a wonderful player he's been, but watch this cut through here by recognises the drop, the short drop really early. Joshy Bruce hardly looked like Darren Jarman when he went for a kick on the snap on the right.
Against his old team, of course, 14 games for the Giants. Josh Bruce. Robertson, content to see that out.
Oh, could be a free kick.
Yeah,
Actually, should have been a free kick. Robertson's just thrown the ball high.
Umpire's lost it. It's under.
Still looking for it.
It's under the interchange steward.
He got away with one there.
Yeah.
I would have thought. No doubt. Josh Bruce, a local zone selection for the Giants a few years ago.
Yeah, went around the block to try and get an AFL chance. Josh Bruce had to go and play in Adelaide for a year for Glenelg.
Canberra boy originally.
Yeah, Canberra boy. Scully. Traded in the end to the Saints, where he's really blossomed this year. Not so far today, though. Whitfield turned into the deck and not sling tackle there. So I wonder if that was something that the match review panel has forced with a couple of players. If you get the opportunity, don't do it. Rewalt does pretty well there. Didn't get a free, took it out. But maybe players are starting to think twice about the sling tackle.
Played that well, Nick Rewalt. So easy in that situation to say, right, I'll do the safe thing, take it over. Just recognise he could gain his team another 10, 15 metres by playing it in front.
Oh, well done.
Whitfield got a kick. Ross handed it out. Palmer flicks it back. Griffin. Palmer. Loose men behind. Buntine to Shaw. So 10 seconds left. Won't be enough time. And Shaw content to take the 10 seconds off the clock and force the Saints to go in at quarter time with a goalless quarter to their name, just a week after they won by a massive 110 points. Greater Western Sydney Giants at home could be back inside the top 8 tonight with a win, and they've ticked the box to quarter time. They lead by 22 points. The time, spotless stadium in Western Sydney, and the home team, the Giants, 4-0 opening quarter, 4-3-27 to 5 behinds, 22-point margin at the first change. And Jeremy Cameron has 3 and he's looking like the game breaker.
Yeah, he's looking very good. 5 marks already, 5 kicks all directly, and he's taken the ball inside 50 with the other 2 kicks as well. So every kick has been full value, and he's coming at the footy, Alistair.
Absolutely, and we spoke at pre-game about their marks inside forward 50. 3 of those 5 marks have been in the forward 50, generated the shots at goal, and he's kicked truly. But very impressive player, can get into that trap, as we said in the first term, of running back with the flight of the ball. But he looks like he's really well coordinated at the moment with his midfield and Cam McCarthy. They're not actually getting in each other's road.
You have a look at the kicking action of Jeremy Cameron. In all seriousness, he reminds me of a left-footed version of Jason Dunstall. He's got a long, his hands stay on the ball a long time. Probably more attractive than Jason. I mean, and the legs not quite as chumpy, but very, very effective action. Very similar, but obviously on the other side.
Yeah, if he kicks 1,256 goals for his career, it'd be a nice time for players to be at the GWS. But at the moment, it's not a great place to be if you're with the Saints, because this is not the start they were after. Their coach, Alan Richardson, is about to join Ben Dixon on the boundary line, but he's stuck around longer with his troops than probably he expected to. This needs to be stopped. GWS momentum arrested here.
Well, the first thing they can do, Dwayne, is fix up their kicking.
Yeah.
Their kicking between the two arcs as they were coming forward was deplorable.
And Alan Richardson is with Ben Dixon now.
Thanks, Dwayne. First quarter disappointing off your high-pressure game last week, but it's a backline transition to be most disappointing.
Yeah, no, certainly their ball use, we weren't able to get it back. We're still able to get a few mid-turnovers, but just our ball use going forward was sloppy, but we're getting smashed in contest. That'll be our main focus.
And the forward half, they've obviously condensed their numbers. Happy to give you your forwards out the back. Anything in terms of tactics-wise there?
Oh, no, not really. No, we just let it get out too early. We just need a bit more pressure on the midfield. We're happy with our matchups. They scored that quarter, but no, we need to rely on pressure in the midfield.
Good luck in the second quarter.
And just to reinforce what Richo was saying there, I mean, they're working hard to get the ball back, but they're operating at 52% by foot, which is well under the AFL standard and average. So tidy that up, they'll be well and truly in the game.
Minus 11 for contested possessions in that quarter.
Downey and Longer go at it to start this second turn. That's a high bump to the head of Ward. Advantage paid. He looks okay, so that's good news. There might not be any match review panel repercussions, but they'll obviously have a look at that. Stephen, short pass. Rewald missed him completely. Shaw gets the crumb. Cornelio dragged down and dropped it. Had to be ball. Now, Stephen plays on to advantage, but it wasn't really an advantage. I think he was waiting to see if they actually got the free. To Armitage, back to Weller, back to Robertson. This is ugly, especially for Saints fans here. Robertson didn't even find his toe with that one. Green slaps it on. Cornelio attacks it, knocked away from him. To Geary, taken to the line and a ball in.
And just that the pass again out of their half-back line to Nick Rewalt, missed him by 3 or 4 metres. Just got to make those, make those passes.
Oh, yes. From 15 metres when you're actually not being tackled, you got running pressure, but that's about it.
Callum Ward gets back.
That's good hands.
Scully, Cornelio, Haynes. And he used it reasonably well there. He had the two big men, Lobb and Downey. Neither could get it, but Whitfield does. Tries to tunnel it through, and it gets its way to Green in the end. Flicks it wide. Palmer sold that pup delightfully, and Shield finishes the deal.
I have no doubt St Kilda are going to come hard during this game. They've got a lot left in the tank, quite obviously, and they are in good form as a unit. But one thing they don't want to do is come with a rush when the margin is just too big.
That's not a good sign for one of the real guns. Dylan Shield looks like he's gone down on, there was a hamstring, just the back of his right knee, it might be.
He's put the hand up.
And that's it. So that is really a big concern for the GWS Giants.
So Curtly Hampton is their sub. He might have to come on.
He tightened up on that last stride just before he kicked the ball.
Yeah.
He just tightened up and...
You'd almost prefer a contact injury, wouldn't you, than that?
Absolutely.
He's staying on at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on that. He looked like he was signalling as if he wanted to come off. Saints free. Montagna.
A lot of room for Revolt.
And he sets himself for this. He's bumped off the contest slightly. Josh Bruce off the carpet. Tomlinson back into the lineup this week. Almost got a trip free. Kept his feet, goes wide. And Geary and Green tie up. So
Dylan Shield limps from the ground. He tried to stay out there for 5 or 10 seconds, but didn't work. So he looks like he will be out of the game. He'll be assessed by the physios, but they'll make a pretty quick ruling, you'd think.
I reckon he was just showing to the doctors there. He swiveled and looked over his shoulder. I reckon that handball that went over his head, I reckon he's done a little tweak when he had to do the 360 turn and look over his shoulder.
The bad news is that could be more than just this afternoon. And he is, well, he could be the biggest midfield star of this whole group. Especially if the other big midfield star doesn't stay at the end of the year, Dermot. Trelaw.
Yet to sign Adam Trelaw.
Yeah. And there's a few clubs that are after him.
He was just saying down here, boys, as he was turning with his hands in the air, his lateral part, back part of his hamstring tendon or behind his knee, he felt something there. So he's just gone down into the GWS rooms. I'll keep you updated with that one.
There's Trelaw on cue. Kicks to Cameron. Couldn't bring down the chest mark. Robertson. Fisher gave it back to Robertson. Webster runs. Waited for the bounce. Got a kind bounce.
This is
Sinclair.
where they've really fallen down. This kick here to half forward.
So Sinclair couldn't even bounce it back to himself. Couldn't shake the tackler. Had to give it to Geary. He's in trouble. Weller sets it up, hoping for Bruce, who goes up from 4 deep. Schneider steals. Rewalt. Stand start. Smothered ball. Buntine in a world of trouble. Got a kick according to the umpire. Smith bangs it wide. Free kick Saints.
Well, that's a start. It wasn't clean going inside 50, but they put pressure on it, getting great defensive pressure from GWS to lay a shepherd, but the Saints set up for another entry. But at the moment, they're just relying on the bombs to Nick Rewalt and Bruce, relying on a big pack mark, which is obviously going to be hard.
So Webster fumbled, had to play on quickly. Longer, Rewalt, they're all down there. Steele got the handball back. Ross lays a tackle.
That was good body contact by Seb Ross, just enough to knock over his GWS opponent there and still keep his own balance and regain his position over the footy.
Perfect spot for a ball up for the Saints. Longer knocks it down to Armitage. Caught by Cornelio. 15, 20 players around it. It's tight, not a lot of room.
They cannot get a clean shot at goal, the Saints.
Just not sure they've got a clean possession inside forward 50 at the moment. There's a lot, and that's certainly the pressure from the Giants has been really good.
So Rewalt went third man up. Loney tried to steal it. Grabbed by Smith, who picked their pocket, gave to Tomlinson. It'll be coming back. Fisher played on. Sinclair.
They can't get into the trap of just bombing again.
You see they're holding most of the players up around that 50-metre line and trying to keep the goal square open for a lead to come from it.
Core punches away from Bruce. Schneider might as well have a crack from there. He did and missed.
Yeah, needs to do better than that.
Dylan Shield just heading in with the doctor to be assessed. Doesn't look like too much urgency there.
It's Frenchie.
Of course, Frenchie.
The doctor.
Dr. French.
Tomlinson. Went for Palmer, missed him. Geary cuts it off. Brilliant smother again, Callum Ward. There's a sensational footballer, full stop. Palmer got it from Steele. Drives it to Cameron. A wobbler, and he loves feeding back to it. Cameron sizes up the options, and, well, he had the pass option. He went for home and got his fourth.
Well, that was really well done. Again, the run from the Giants, but Gilbert just got himself out of position. He sort of misread the ball. He seemed like he was focused on Cameron.
You know what it looked like, though? Because Cameron's been coming at the footy, and as I said before, that creates uncertainty in the play, in the defender's mind. Now watch, he's thinking, now he's going back. That's his usual play. I've got to follow him out here, and this is the old lead him under the footy trick. Because he's committed to following him out, leading up at the footy, he gets him out the back now.
I think in that situation, Gilbert, once he'd gone it, he was watching the man, so he wasn't watching the ball. If he'd kept his eye on the ball, he would have been the first to turn. But good work from the Giants. Some concerns again for the Saints.
So Matt Weller just sends it high, hoping for a big lead from Josh Bruce. Core right with him, takes him to the line and puts him into the dirt for his trouble.
I will say too, Jeremy Cameron's fourth goal then, it was startlingly good. But if I'm Cam McCarthy at the top of the goal square, I'm going to give him a serve. You got to give that one.
I reckon if I'm Cam McCarthy, I know I'm probably not going to get a lot of those from Jeremy Cameron over time. I'm going to have to earn my own. Jack Steele.
Dylan Shields not back from the rooms just yet, boys, but the doc rang past. He's jarred his right knee, as we said. He's going to be okay, I think. He's going to come out shortly. Kurtley Ampton is obviously the sub at the moment, and Craig Lammas just said, I think he'll be on ice for a little bit longer.
Okay, so no Kurtley Hampton just yet. For the record, Farron Ray is the sub for the Saints. In this contest, there's Kurtley Hampton there.
There's Simon Caddage, right-hand side of the screen. They could have done with him last night.
Back into play.
Someone to dig in.
I thought it was footy season.
Yeah. Not in the Northern Hemisphere.
Dunstan.
Good pressure again.
Savage's kick wide. And that's a mark to Williams.
He's done some nice things already in this game, young Williams, but once again, bombing the ball. It's going to take an exceptional pack mark to generate a shot at goal at the moment for the Saints.
And it's an amazing kick. Dangerous kick to the hottest of hot spots, and normally it sets it up from there because you have every part of the ground available to you. Tomlinson gets a free, and look at that. Shield is warming up again. Gee. Bit of magic spray. Big flyers go up. Scully stays down. Handed to Green. Webster gets back.
Got to have clean hands here, Jimmy Webster. Yeah.
Wasn't what he was after.
You notice that when the ball's under pressure, GWS are able to get a smother. It was when the Saints were under, they're able to get a smother or something, but they can't put it into reverse when the Giants have it. The Saints can't lay that smother pressure or tackling on the Giants like that. They're out there now. That's better.
Schneider almost cut down. Slick handball to Sinclair. Couldn't handle it. Montagne can't keep his feet. Ross. Yeah. Stephen can't keep his feet. Schneider caught, dumped, dropped it, ball.
He is a tough kid, this boy, Jack Steele.
Are you living up to his name, Dermot?
Absolutely.
Sounds like some sort of cartoon character. But boy, can he play. Scully to make it 7 goals to 0.
Just let them off. There's another Giants player just struggling on the far side. Cam McCarthy started to limp off the ground, but he's just trying to stay out there at the moment. But it'll be another concern. He'll be assessed shortly by the physio once he gets out onto the ground.
Dylan Shields back on the interchange, boys, just about to come back on, just getting a little rub now, and should be back on shortly.
So for Saints fans watching at home, the news gets worse then. They don't have to use their sub early. It's 6-4 to 6 behinds if you've just joined us. Dunstan to Geary and another little fumble. Gets it back though. Rewalt.
Well, he can't blaze away. They're outnumbered deep.
So back towards Dunstan. Gathers, again slips, and that, well, he's jumped on by Green and he's in trouble. He gets the benefit of the doubt, no prior.
That's the benefit of the doubt. That's one of those ones where we're the only sport in the world where the umpires give the "I feel sorry for you" rule because you slipped, or you haven't heard my whistle.
Right.
Did he fall first and then the ball fell on his lap? Otherwise, if he jumped on it, it would have been ball.
No, but he had it and he slipped.
Oh, okay. I thought he actually had a fumble, slipped, and then it fell on his lap. Otherwise, you're right. There's another stoppage we could have avoided. Ball back into play. We're going to get another stoppage, a ball in.
And the other one our umpires give for the sorry ruling is you didn't hear my touched play on call.
I'm right next to you, a metre away. I screamed it in your ear.
And 30,000 people in the ground heard it.
The bloke claims a mark. He gets tackled and stands there like a stunned rabbit in the headlights.
Sinclair. Williams got a fist on it, and even Armitage is leaving him behind now. Green. Treloar. Armitage mopped up his own mess there.
They got a bit of intensity back in their play, though, the Saints now.
But that kick doesn't reach the mark. Buntine.
He's having a very good game, Buntine.
A pretty good year, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Good size defender.
He can play either bigs or smalls if needed. I think the intensity is there for the Saints, but they're operating at 51%. Just in that forward half, their disposals have been really poor.
Rewalt getting back to make a contest here. Downey plucked it away from him. Savage.
That's better.
You know he wants to launch a big 70-metre bomb. He goes inside, to Weller. To Sinclair. If it sits, he could kick there first. Keeps it low.
Good boy.
Hallelujah.
That appears to be the only way they're going to kick goals at the moment, run and break the 50-metre arc, you know, by hand or foot, because they don't look capable with the way they're using the ball to mark uncontested in the forward half. So midfield goals are what they need at the moment, and certainly their poised composure with ball in hand going in the forward half.
By no accident, the ball passed through the hands of the two fastest players in the team.
Yeah.
Shane Savage, well, I'm sure there's somebody else could match them for pace, but they're seriously pacey players. Started with Shane Savage on the back flank, who 2 or 3 deep in defensive side of the pack was able to see the split and run it forward, and the eventual kick gets on to Sinclair, who can thread the goal.
Dylan Shields just back on the ground, boys. He did come up and down the boundary line. Physio still had a bit of doubt on his acceleration, but he is on the ground at the moment, just in the middle, about to get the ball shortly, I think.
Okay, so Williams rolls that. Treloar to Shield. We couldn't prop then. He found it hard to turn. I think he's going to have to come back off.
Yeah, that was his fitness test on that occasion as he tried to take a sharp left-hand turn. Just pulled up.
Yeah.
Big pack around this.
It's a little bit like Adam Schneider, his opponent, only turns onto the left.
Treloar. Palmer goes for it himself. Gilbert quick in. Schneider has the space if he wants to play on.
Gee, they could do with some output from Jack Stephen.
Griffin content to roll that out.
Have a look at that. Jack Stevens, 8 possessions, 3 of them kicks, 5 handballs, all 3 kicks ineffective. So they've got no travel, they've got no metres gained out of Jack Stevens so far.
Cornelio thrown out of it. Callum Ward pumps it forward.
Good boy.
Webster.
Now they've got the hard spread.
So Nunes could have gone as well. He had a couple of one-on-ones forward. He didn't like the look of them. Waited for Dunstan's lead.
It's not as if the game has changed, but St Kilda are actually in a better mode of play now.
Dylan Shields just put his hand up, boys. I think he's out of the game. The physio just chatting to him now. He's proppy as. I think Kurtley Hampton will be soon subbed into this game.
Yeah, he's a valuable commodity. You don't want to see anything happen for long term with him, and the physio Leroy's there next to him and will make the decision.
Well, if all goes to plan for the Giants, they'll have bigger fish to fry come September. They'll need a full complement then if they're to take on the big boys. Nunes.
That's a better pass.
Dunstan.
Well, that was, you know, you're talking footy terms of lowering the eyes. Just have a look. The 3-quarter kick. Dunstan found some space, whereas in the past have been blazing away.
So there's the handoff to Savage, and there's the 70-metre bomb that didn't quite make it.
And the 206-centimetre reach of Rory Lobb on the line.
Yeah, Shane Savage just got under that one a little. Didn't quite flush it.
Sure.
Well, the best of the Saints holds this ball in.
Downey's the jumper with Fisher. Geary at the back. Gilbert.
So that's the wrong option.
The shorter one.
Yeah, he had Seb Ross for a surety kick, who would have been 55, but you've got the ball. It's better in your hands a little far out than giving it to the opposition further afield.
Cameron swapped with McCarthy for a short period here. He's come up to half forward. McCarthy back to full forward. And he's waiting for this kick forward. It's a poke pass, Smith to Green. McCarthy still inside 50, waiting for it. McCarthy ignored, and Cameron takes it instead.
And you've got Tom Downey with a very good matchup. The big kid over the back, he's not going to get there.
Steele.
Oh, he's taken a really good mark.
He's a beauty, this kid.
A huge size advantage. It was Geary who was there in the marking contest, and
6'1.5", probably looks more like a 6'2" at midfield, and he's a big kid, a big,
strong,
powerful kid. Yeah, 18 or 19, and
it's his third game. Jack Steele, he's never kicked an AFL goal, so here's his moment for his first goal in AFL footy. Goal umpire didn't move. And they come from everywhere for him. Always great to see that. They're all tucking his headband off his head accidentally. Ben Dixon downstairs.
Yeah, as expected, Dylan Shields subbed out of the game. Curtly Hampton comes on. Took a little bit of time, but as I said, down on the boundary line, he couldn't accelerate and let alone do some lateral movement. So smart decision by the Giants here. Not ideal before half-time to be subbed out of the game, but a good replacement in Curtly Hampton.
Got the headband back on.
yeah, put the chemo Shinobi back on there. There we go. Got tangled in the locks there, Lynchy.
You ever have that problem, Alistair?
Yeah, the mullet used to get caught up occasionally back in the halcyon days.
Scully dragged down, good tackle. Ball up. There's Dylan Shield. His day is done. And he'll have a long week or two for rehab. Schneider's handball smothered. There's Jack Steele rolling into that one again.
Isn't that great how he rolled
When he
into
won
it
himself a free.
and stripped the ball away from, I think it was Nunes he took the ball away from.
Whitfield. Griffin.
St Kilda have been winning their games, and when they win their games, they tend to take 100 plus marks. We're a few minutes away from half-time, but they're on 35.
Yeah.
So they're way off their target of ball retention to give them a chance to even impact the scoreboard. Doesn't help when you keep 1-7 either, but...
Well, no, that's right, but that's the thing. They're probably bombing the ball far too long, not using that three-quarter kick so you can get it. You rack up your uncontested marks.
One off the head.
So the flick down. Reece Palmer taken out of play.
The other thing is, too, the amount of times you saw the Jack Stevens chip kick forward to Nick Revolt, 15-20 metre kick, that should be ball retention. That should
absolutely
be a mark. So they've hurt themselves by foot. Not so much their game style or plan at the moment, it's the execution.
Griffin, well, he dropped into a high tackle cleverly there.
I think the first one was a touch high, but when inside 50 is 26-20 in favour of the Saints. So it's the kick inside 50 that's really letting him down.
Now there's the thump. Top down. Callum Ward, he's got a toe on that. Reece Palmer got a toe on it. It hasn't even crossed the line. It hasn't even crossed the line.
They're going to have to find out. Have a listen in.
Score review. Umpire's call is that it's hit the post and for one behind. Please check that the ball has crossed the line completely, please.
What's your call, Lynchy?
I thought it was still in. But
that's a miss. That's still in.
That's bounced in, so
that's still live.
Play.
That's still live. That's a miss.
Well, the whole ball's got to be over.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go, mate?
So they're going to have to ball this up.
I was going to say, absolutely, because that doesn't appear to be a score.
Yeah,
it's got to pass. She's way too close.
Yeah, the whole of the ball has to cross the whole of the line, as Alistair Lynch told you. That didn't happen, so it looks as if this will be...
It's got to go to, just for the rule, the sticklers for the rule, the ball has to completely pass to the outside of that invisible line that appears above the chalk.
But the decision was actually made by the goal umpire before that issue. She's felt that the first bounce had crossed the line or touched the post.
You were right. Well done. Come in, fellas.
So where do we ball it up then now?
In the old days, you'd have to bounce it. You could bounce a point.
So where do we ball it up? What's the rule here?
Well, it's like you come away from the boundary line.
Why would it be top of the square?
Well, you take it 5 metres in. What's the square these days? It's not exactly a 10, is it?
Is that the rule, is it? Top of the square?
No, I don't know, but you've got to...
Just made that up, Dirk.
I think you did. I can't see why you wouldn't bounce it on the line where the last decision was made. Anyway, we're out of play.
Well, you don't bounce it anymore.
No,
but you throw it up. But it's just like a man on the mark pegged into a behind, and he's got to kick it back into play. You bring the man off the mark 5 metres so play can resume.
You are making it up.
Dirk's got no idea, but we'll go with it.
Yeah.
Nice, confident delivery, Dirk.
Peaky, call us. Let us know.
It's been a bizarre afternoon so far, and the Saints 1 goal 7 has made it very bizarre. 7-5 to 1-7. Sure, to send this back inside 50 for the Giants, who will be in the top 8 tonight if they win this. They've got 3 losses in a row coming into this. Touch play on was a call. Dempster got half a kick. Gilbert knocked it away. Treloar kept his feet magnificently and then kicked to the boundary line. It's on the full.
Again, the Saints under enormous pressure. Just can't get the ball out.
See, can I interject? See where the umpire is manning the mark? Now, the ball went over the chalk, boys, so why does he have to stand back there?
Well, he has to come back 5 metres, not 10, which is the square, or 9 as the square is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You come back from the exit point.
You're guessing, Dirk.
No, I'm not.
You're digging a deeper hole.
No, no.
High kick. Dempster cuts it off. Put the shovel away, we'll get your Bobcat second half, Tim. Dempster.
Not a lot of movement up. So again, it's almost a bailout kick in hope.
Shaw about to pounce on this and send it back. Under siege right now, the Saints. Sits it up high, hoping for the leapers. And the big reach of lob. He got an arm slap free. So it'll come back. And he can have a shot at goal.
Called it a hold, the umpire signalled the shirt.
Okay.
Just with the juggle of the first marking attempts.
The ball, that was a problem.
And Fisher's just grabbed the body.
So what he said is once the ball fell free, you took him to ground and tackled him. So this kick, as we look at this view, will go from our left to right. And Rory Lobb, for such a tall man, watch this on the closed box here. And it's fallen, and there's, oh, it's soft.
He's still in the marking contest, though.
Yeah, he's stiff there, Chips Bishop.
Yeah.
It's not a bad kick, look, Rory.
Yeah, it's a strange lead-up, but normally good result. And that's what happens here. 8 goals to 1.
He shows a bit, been around the club for a couple of years now, 22 years old, only in his 5th game, but he certainly draws the ball long, and yeah, very interesting. Have a look at the free kick again. Yeah, probably Fisher a little bit stiff.
So he's still in the marking contest at that stage that he's dragged down from the front.
It's just the way things are going for the Saints at the moment. Haven't got any flow when they do take possession, and when going the other way, the Giants are certainly hurting them on the scoreboard.
Leon Cameron should be happy with the afternoon so far. A lot of time left in this contest, though, but probably stretching it to call it a contest at this stage. They dive in, 53 to 13, biggest margin of the game, 40 points.
The middle stage of this quarter, I think the Saints showed a lot. It's just the execution of that last kick inside 50 has let them down time and time again.
Nunes fumble, so he had to knock it on. Good attack from Core, got there first. And Bruce took him to the ground. Longer, used his strength. Squeezes it inside 50. Shaw read it pretty well off the boot. Kept it to the boundary just in case he wanted to take it out. Savage does him a favour.
Inside 50s, St Kilda 27, GWS 24.
Contested possessions is a big discrepancy.
Huge.
24 plus for the Giants.
That's where the Giants have really struggled over the last 3-4 weeks as well.
Yep.
Armitage got his hands free. Stephen Sinclair dragged down from behind.
So we look at the way footy's played in the old paper, scissor, rock who beats who. The Giants are a run and carry, run and gun, handball, run through the traffic team. And the natural enemy of that is pressure and tackling, which is what St Kilda have been showing in the for most of the season. But here today, they've been unable to withstand the Giants' pressure in reverse.
Oh, and that's almost on the full. Well, there's an indicator as to how well the Saints are going. Even the fumbles are going out on the full.
Other way.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Lucky.
The little bobble came back onto the shin of Adam Tomlinson.
Somehow they've just got to scrap a goal, whether it's been a very good kick from here. They're not deep pockets, but Nick Rewright's half a chance. I'm not sure he's got too many options to dish off into the corridor.
I think if you're captain, you kick this one.
And change the moment.
Oh, that's a dirty old mung. That did not spin once.
A dirty old mung. 1 on 3 here.
291 games. I'm not sure he's ever had a kick worse than that. That was bizarre.
Little fumble by Jack Loney puts pressure on the Saints again. They retreat through Savage, squares it up.
Webster. Every player on the field ahead of him, and he sits it up in the air, and Buntine stands under it. Good mark, that. Didn't complete the deal.
But that is such a bad kick. not Nick Rewild's, that one. I mean, you're expecting enormous amount out of your forwards. I'm just going to bomb this up in the air, and good luck.
Plenty of hang time to outside 50 in the pocket.
Stephen.
Now they're a shot.
And it's flown all the way over the top and rolled through for the piece of luck they so desperately needed.
Well, as bad as the Saints have been, they just don't look like how they have an avenue for goal. They need to find a couple of these scrappy goals to get their flow going. But they're not totally out of this game. They can well and truly get in it. The inside 50s are very similar. They've got to tidy up their contested ball, but just the delivery by foot. So if they can scrap a few goals, and certainly one more before half-time, well, they'll probably struggle now, but going at half-time, reset, come out in the third quarter, they're well and truly in it.
So a big minute and a half coming up here, especially for the Saints, if they could steal one more. And poor bounce, recalled. Downey in the ruck against Longer. Downey kept his feet, Longer went to ground. Downey knocked it down to Stephen, though. The Schneider, the Membry, Shaw, front and square, great crumb. Buntine, Haynes, Buntine, Williams, little nudge to the back, and then the mark.
There's a couple of good marks he's taken.
Gets under that a bit to Green.
He saw screaming from the back line, slow it down, but they've taken the risk and they're going to run and gun it, Blaine.
The sub, Kirtley Hampton to Treloar. Waiting for the crumb. Gilbert, Savage, Loney. Down to 50 seconds. Fisher just got a boot on it. Bruce shrugs the tackle. Loney squeezes wide towards Rewald. Ball in, 38 seconds left to half-time.
That was only Josh Bruce's second disposal for the game. Nick Rewald has only had the 5, so the two key forwards that have been so dominant in recent times just struggling.
Adam Tomlinson is just looking to put body on Rewald every contest, and secondary is the spoil of the ball. Oh, it's got the skates on.
Fisher caught, given some time, kicked out of mid-air. Jack Steele. Savage. Down to 15 seconds, and how's that for a handball? Go back and get that. Loney. Fisher. Living dangerously, but that should do. 34 points, the half-time margin. A lukewarm round of applause at Spotless Stadium. But an 8-2 opening half here. The only good news really for the Saints, they kicked the last goal of the term, and GWS have been forced to jump with their sub. Dylan Shield gone for the afternoon. The Saints still have their sub to come. 34 points the margin at the long break. Still blue skies here at Spotless Stadium in Western Sydney. Round 14 clash between the Giants and the Saints. Goalless in the opening term, the Saints. They did hit back late in the second term. 34 points the margin. Second half not far from getting underway. GWS, huge opportunity to get back on the winners list. Come into this having lost their past 3 games, having dropped out of the top 8. But they win today, they're back in the top 8. And they keep their top 4 chances alive as well. They'll be just 1 win from 4th tonight if Hawthorn happens to lose to Fremantle today, which is not beyond the realms of possibility. There's a big shuffle up of teams hunting down not just a spot in the 8, but a top 4 spot. The Giants' form earlier this season with Mumford in was sensational, but in the opening term and the opening half today, it's been pretty good without Mumford. Can the Saints hit back and make something of the second half of their season? They came into this having won 2 of their past 3. And the ball up. Cornelio and Armitage.
Saints have decided not to take one of their forwards and play him as an extra in the back line. Started legitimately with 6 forwards in their half of the ground. They're holding them there too. Schneider will creep into the back of left-hand side of shot, just slightly on the left-hand side of shot. He is the furthest forward, just in the edge of the centre circle there now.
Umpire's found a free kick, a holding free, and it's going to Callum Ward, who had the most possessions in the opening half, 17. So that's why they're holding him. He goes long to Cameron, who's got 4 goals to his name.
Oh, well done.
Laser tackle here.
Gathered that well.
Yeah, it did really well. And some good defensive work to push Jeremy Cameron under the ball, just so he was out of the marking contest. All very legal.
And again, a scramble.
See here, plenty of numbers around the contest. The Giants have been very good, as we've said, the majority of the first half with the contested possessions. Plus 21 contested possessions is the most they've ever had as a discrepancy in the history of the club. So that's a really good sign for the Giants.
Rewalk all the way back inside defensive 50. Nunes slung. Gilbert slung. Cornelio flicks it. Green in tight. Great smother again. Curtly Hampton put his body on the line there to smother it. It comes out. Armitage, Weller, Rewalk, hard running all the way from half back, and he pumps it for Bruce. Has hardly seen it. Gets the roll. Core right with him and dumps him.
He's quick, genuinely quick, Aiden Core. Josh Bruce, big, and has a huge, huge tank. He's got midfielder-like resources to call on for endurance, but he hasn't got Core's pace, and that's what he needed at that opportunity.
Schneider, he wanted the high free.
And took on 4 blokes.
He repeat acting performances there. He gave an encore.
Yeah, and paid the penalty. Good to see Nick Rewalt get his hands on the ball, only his 8th disposal.
Was that you having a coffee with Schneider this morning, Dermot?
We saw them. Yeah, we saw Adam Schneider. Well, I was fetching you your coffee, Dwayne, so you know it was.
Ball to the wing. Was he having coffee with the opposition?
Yeah, Amon Buchanan, who is the forward line coach of the GWS Giants. Those two played together, tandem half-forward flankers, in the 2000s with the Sydney Swans.
Yep, absolutely. Whitfield feeds it back. Griffin,
good tackling, good heat.
He lost it, and the umpire let the tackle roll. Dunstan and Josh Bruce. Huge opportunity here.
And that's the pass we've been talking about. The 30-metre, 35-metre pass low to the leading target rather than just blazing away. They've had plenty of entries, but that is the best entry they've had.
And this is massive. It would be deflating if he misses it, because this is the start they were after. But he nails it, and it's a couple in a row, and there's a ton of time left.
Solid shot. Not the prettiest set shot action in the world, but he is solid.
37 for the year, 38 for the year, and the door's open.
Yeah, absolutely. It's well and truly open, and as we've said numerous times, there were stages through that second quarter you thought that the Saints maybe were getting on top. They just weren't getting rewarded for their effort, but that finishing skills from both Dunstan and Bruce certainly impacted the scoreboard, which is very important because that's basically all they're doing wrong outside the contested possessions. This lowered the eyes, hit the 30-metre pass, good hands from Bruce. They're off to a flying start, and there's the Coleman medal race. See Jeremy Cameron up to 41, Kennedy 50, Rewalt down to Bruce on 38 now.
So if you just joined us, Jeremy Cameron started the day on 37, up to 41. He's got 4 goals so far this afternoon. Josh Kennedy, who knows, might be a chance to crack the ton, especially if the West Coast Eagles happen to play a few finals, and they're on track right now to play a few. Through the hands of Shaw. Loney, Schneider, clever. Montagna pops it up over the head of Weller. Has some space, being tracked down by Steele. Turned on him, sold him a pup. Goals!
Gave him a little education there about don't die on the play. Don't give up the play, but he played it very, very well, Maverick. Well, you watch, they've got reasonable coverage here. Still gets goal side of him. That's disappointing there for his play, but right now he thinks he's running out of die on that and just put him onto the back foot.
Not sure Mav planned it out that way.
No, but
it's fallen beautifully that way. And again, bit of composure went under the pump. Got around and snapped it beautifully. There's some real positives starting to be seen for the Saints. Started this quarter extremely well. Disposal was 19-6.
Seen some huge turnarounds in games this year. The biggest one involved the Saints, of course, with the Western Bulldogs earlier this year. And they believe right now, the Saints, they're back in town. Stephen kicks to Revo.
Forward 50 marks.
Well, that's going to happen. That's going to happen if you give up the centre bounce clearance.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't happening because they were blazing away, kicking.
No, I know, but when you've got
floaters, but
see, wasn't a great, wasn't a super kick to Revolt, way out in front, and had to rely on Revolt's natural athleticism to dive into that one. Great result, and this is the next result.
His last kick was the worst kick of his career. That's one of his better ones. 4 in a row for the Saints.
Yeah, he kept his head over that one beautifully, and yeah, just things starting to work in their favour. Now, we said the GWS Giants were well up in contested ball, as we see here. And it's Stephen, just looks out into the space. Plenty of grass out in front of Nick Rewalt. Yeah, it certainly made him stretch, but you'd rather it out there rather than sitting on your head when there's third up jumpers to spoil the contest. Certainly the way that it's panned out in the first half.
That behind the ground footage shows Adam Tomlinson berating himself as Revolt's diving for the mark.
Even last night we saw the Bulldogs kick 4 goals for the game to three-quarter time, and then kick 10 goals in the last quarter. Momentum is a massive thing in the modern game, and the Saints have it right now. Nunes couldn't break away with it. He was tackled in the congestion. Stephen kick smothered. Cornelio tracks it. Armitage tracks him. Devon Smith. Little push off on Jack Stephen. He wouldn't have liked that. Under it with the kick. Lyon got back. McCarthy hasn't seen a lot of it. Stolen by Palmer. Turned into a tackle. Robertson's tackle stayed low.
What the Saints have done now, they're dropping an extra one off and making Robertson the loose man in defence because they feel they've got a handle at the stoppages, so they can drop one out of there and put him into defensive.
Treloar from 50 loads up and almost Cameron on the line, just nudged front on and spoiled.
They can bounce out here quickly and they got run through the middle of the ground.
Gilbert showed it to Whitfield, got it to Dunstan, smother. Haynes, Robertson, Gilbert kept it alive. Dunstan, Webster, Geary Sinclair. Positive movement. Longer. Back again to Dunstan. Flicks it out even further. Back. All the way back to Longer again. Caught. But at least they're taking it on. Gilbert, little toe poke. Whitfield to Green. This is a different game in the second half. Robertson thumps it. Montagna the shimmy. Williams, who couldn't do a thing wrong in the opening half, puts it to grass.
Gee, that was he just shuffled the ball on with the back of his heel because he saw the Saints player, Savage, coming to it.
Montagna, Ross.
Working it so well through the traffic now, St Kilda.
They're flicking it around.
Spot on, Dermot, with the traffic. 20 handball receipts to 4 in favour of the Saints. They're getting their wave of numbers now. They had no support around the source early in that first half. They've really addressed that.
Yeah, the handball receives well and truly up. Contested possessions as well. It's a big correction in favour of the Saints.
Rewalt, who lays that beautiful tackle. Third man up, gets it down. Montagna, Dunstan, big pack. But they can reset the Saints with the ball in. Well, this is what we expected from the opening bounce, but we didn't get it. Saints goalless in the opening quarter. Took them a quarter and a half to get their first goal. Bruce doing the ruck work. Baxteele lays the tackle, holds it in.
And Revolt has withdrawn and come out to about 80 metres out from goal to try and cut off the exit strategy from Giants rather than be in there.
He plays that role really well because I'm surprised he's not used at stoppages a lot more between the arcs. His ability obviously to run back the other way, but having tall exit target like that, they've done that a couple of times, the Saints.
Lob and Bruce. Steele got it down to Treloar. Here's where Rewalt is. Couldn't quite mark it because his arm knocked at the last second. Fisher around the body to attacking 50. Punched away from Weller. Haynes, not a lot to go to. Had to wait for the cavalry. And still not a lot to go to. Rewalt coming hard. Left it for Webster.
And they're away again.
Dunstan.
Stevens is in the square by himself. Just half a kick too far away.
Dunstan's short if he wants it. He doesn't want it. He wants Rewalt.
See, I don't discount that Nick would be very good at reading the outcoming ball, but he's so good. I'd want him where the danger is.
It's the only thing he had a quiet first half, so maybe just trying to get a bit of ball in hand.
Low kick, Loney. She was jumped on as he attempted the second grab. Bruce bangs it around the body. And good reach in the end, Cornelio. Armitage thought he had that.
Big chunk of this one.
And then an arm pulled down in the marking contest. Gee.
They got away with one there, Nick Haynes. Yep, that's what the rule's been brought in for.
Lob throws it down. Stephen tries to thread a handball through. Bruce got his arms free. Loney couldn't roll it home. Buntine. Kick half smothered into a wobbler. Intensity is right up now. Fisher, and that tackle emphasises the point. Laid by Palmer. Green got up with it.
They've got nowhere to kick here. They're outnumbered.
Dempster, can he read this? He does.
Just didn't have the composure, just rushed the kick. And they may get hurt the other way.
Nunes. Robertson. They try and block up the corridor, force them wide. Good pluck, Fisher. Schneider. Thumped away from Loney. Montagna nearly had it and was away. Cornelio back to Ward. Treloar. They need him to fire.
That's a clever little kick forward. He knew he was under pressure.
De Palma. Loops it over the top. Scully. Onto his left. Drives it towards goal. Post. It's just not unfolding for GWS.
Jeremy Cameron is screaming at him. Now look at Cameron here. His man runs away.
Toby Green to the left.
Toby Green, sorry, on the left. Now Jeremy Cameron saying, I had all this space, and if you lower your eyes, I'll lead into it.
And of course, GWS, if you haven't been with us, are already down their sub. Currently Hampton, their sub, is on, and Dylan Shield is out of the game. Is that 15? Cut some slack there. Squares 10.
They've played this situation all right today, the GWS Giants. They've been able to hold it in.
Lob. Free kick against Bruce.
He's holding out in the marking contest, knowing that lob was going to come in.
Savage. Membry has to back into it. Shaw has to mark it.
He was brave. He charged out and he recognised where Shane Savage was lowering the eyes to.
Trelaw with the 1-2. Stephen hunts him down. Got him. Ball.
Need to go quick. Weller is free. Just missed the opportunity.
Savage forced wide to Nunes. Sam Fisher. Old head. In fact, the oldest player on the Saints list. Backtracks on the wing. Dunstan, second grab.
There's a round-up mismatch here. Curtly Hampton's had to go to Josh Bruce. He's next target player down the line. Hayden Corr's been trapped over the other side against Lee Montagna. So he's got to try and identify it, and he's going to take it away from that targeting.
Robertson. Savage. Dempster has some space. Geary leads for him wide. Opens up space for somebody else inside.
See, this is what St Kilda wanted first half. Average 100 marks a win.
Yep.
Now they're starting to control the way they want to use the ball.
Geary back to Savage. Armitage. Montagna.
That's the kick.
Thought about playing on. He does play on. He sold that one nicely too and goes all the way into the post.
Playing an entirely different game.
Yep.
Honouring leads. There's better movement through the middle of the ground so you can hit up that short pass.
Montagna's had 9 possessions this quarter. First half, he was up against Tom Scully, and Scully got the better of him.
Well, he's had the 9 because on the back of the +1 across half back that the Saints have got. It's not him, but they get the overlap.
Yeah.
Gilbert in game 150 to Montagna. Loney has to get back and compete. Shaw too strong.
Got a good press up now, St Kilda. They are really working hard on locking this ball inside their forward line.
Downey and Lobb both there, and both couldn't mark it. Longer made it tough for both the Giants' big men. Webster fix it wide. Montagna having an impact. Weller puts it out to the hot spot. A little too far in front of Bruce, and Green outstretches Nunes.
Now, if you look at that, look at all the orange jumpers. It's just sideways run. There's no movement.
That's almost out full, not quite.
There's no movement. You look at the other end, Shane Savage is working his backside off to give them forward momentum with run and carry.
And you're spot on, Dermot. The uncontested marks, 20-1 in favour of the Saints this quarter. The GWS have stopped their run and support.
Scully to Haynes. Back into the lineup this week, as is Tomlinson back in. So they made some changes, GWS, after 3 losses in a row. Cameron, and he had a good first half, and it hasn't quite worked for him in the second.
Might have to go to the review to get that one. But as you said, Dwayne, we saw a very similar game last night in Cairns where the Dogs were sluggish. They started to get their running game up. The Gold Coast Suns stopped. The Giants at the moment have stopped.
You were there, Alistair Lynch, calling it clearance. For us. It was an amazing turnaround. Bruce, he got his arm slapped there.
That is a kick.
Shaw, tracked down, edged out, in trouble. Did he hold it in and then make out he was getting it out? He got away with it, whatever he did.
They always do that.
Might have been a couple of arm chops that have been overlooked. Have a look at this one.
Yeah, that's a chop.
There's not a lot in it, but that's the rule.
Yep.
Downey with the reach. Williams, good smother off his boot by Sinclair. Jack Steele, Trelaw. It's a 2-on-1. Saints have the 2. Longer and Gilbert. In fact, there's a 4-on-1. Savage! Unbelievable tackle from Cameron.
He's hurt himself, Jeremy Cameron, as well. That is really good work. He was outnumbered, but stayed in the contest.
But that's all right from Shane Savage. That's what you want. You want him taking it on. And if he's going to get gobbled up in a tackle that comes out of the... he sneaked up on him then. He ambushed him. But you want him taking that risk to run and carry and dash.
And there's Savage beautifully in the reply, takes the mark.
They're looking to mark kick all the way down the line now, the Giants. They have lost their run.
Ross to Webster. Rewalt's at centre-half forward. He waited for Robertson. Bruce is on the lead. Rewalt, almost. And then a little fumble. Core in trouble. Tried to slap it out. Loney, Bruce.
Oh, he's gone over
he
the
took
top
on
of it.
Haynes. He tried to run over him like a tractor. Loney to Dunstan. Dumped through.
That was funny. Josh Bruce, he thought, oh, actually, I'm not going to get around you, so I'm going to go straight over the top. And didn't. Limps out of that contest. But again, here we go. Oh, just put a fend on, missed the fend.
Nick Haynes.
Griffin.
It's a 2-on-2. That's probably the best numerical advantage they've had from the kick in, the long kick in, and it turns into a stalemate throw in.
But it has got more kick mark, longer version for the Giants. They're held back in their defensive half.
You can already see the absence of Dylan Shield is not allowing any sidestep and then run and carry out of the half-back line.
Margin 16 points. It was 40 points. Geary. Now Griffin's been sent back loose.
That's where Bruce needs to push up to make that a 2-on-1 situation.
Hampton. Tomlinson. The Saints still have a fresh man, Farron Ray, to bring on when they want. He might not be far away.
Oh, well done.
Dumped by Webster, and he's hurt himself.
Tomlinson, the timing of the game, first game back for a couple of months, just didn't realise how much time he had. The umpire called play on, and that put them under pressure again. Saints gobbled up that situation.
Plus 10 for inside 50, so 14-4 for the Saints. They need to capitalise on the scoreboard a little bit more than they are.
Ward gave to Scully. He was on the wrong side. Lob, told to keep going, wouldn't have been paid. Hampton. And Jeremy Cameron gets there. Had to make the ground. He put it to grass.
The umpires come from the corridor, and he's got the view of. Right now, he's looking at the back of Jeremy So.
That's a mark.
He took it to ground.
He's had control and taken it to the ground, so
50-50.
I'd be comfortable with that one.
But the umpires, all he gets to see is the ball go in cleanly, and the next time he sees the ball, it's cradled in his right arm.
I'd be comfortable with that one if I was the forward. If there was a full-back, I'd be disgruntled.
It's a big kick for Jeremy Cameron.
22 minutes gone. Third term, and they still haven't scored a goal in this quarter, the Giants.
Yeah, 3 goals, 2 to 3 points, plus 9 inside 50s. Uncontested possessions well up, plus 35 for the Saints. So their run to support is certainly there.
But their first attack on the footy at the source, plus 7 for contested possessions. That's giving them the first use of the ball.
Well, they were minus 21 at half-time.
Saints have been in good form recently. Started the season like a team with about 4 or 5 others on the ladder, rebuilding in that race to be competitive next year, but they've won 2 of their last 3, the Saints. And they've got a free here out of this, and they are coming hard.
And Farron Ray's been subbed in, boys. Seb Ross has been subbed out of the game. Farron Ray's just on half-back as we speak.
Geary told to go.
Oh, too high.
Yeah, too high.
Got to run up at him, got a bead on him, but just went too high.
Sure of the kick there, that's not 5.
Gee.
Not sure of the point.
Rewalt.
Clean hands, beautiful.
Armitage and Montagna. Open spaces, tried with the banana, half smothered, taken to the line by Buntine.
I'm not, Dicko, Farron Ray getting subbed in right now. Most coaches are going to wait for the 30 minutes of the last quarter and get pure and utter running and really look to come over the top. Have they fired 5-10 minutes early?
I think they have, because Seb Ross was a bit confused. He shook his head thinking, I'm not sure whether he's instructed he was going to come off at 3/4 time, but GWS just had those last couple of bits of play, so I think the fresh legs to finish their, obviously, dominance in this quarter.
You don't want to get an injury in this last 3.5 minutes. because then you look a fool going with your sub early.
And you can live with it if it happens at three-quarter time. That's part of the game.
Palmer, Sinclair put his head down, crunched twice.
He's getting punished, that kid, in that play. Good boy, stood up. Joshy Bruce will be the target long into the forward line. Savage will want to go in there long.
He does. He sits it up, hoping for the big leap. And no one's there to go the leap, and Hampton takes what will go down as an uncontested mark. But when you're standing under the high ball...
You prefer the contested one where you jump up with the pack than standing under it.
It gets awfully quiet as you're waiting under that one.
Oh, Haynes, he waited a second there and he's gone. Just a split second. Advantage paid. Montagna, can he find a chest? Over the back, Membry. Couldn't quite get there.
Montagna up to 13. Huge third quarter.
2 minutes 45 to three-quarter time, and they're still goalless for the term, the Giants. Griffin.
Again, Giants just struggling to get out of this back half.
McCarthy hasn't seen it for a while. Haynes the crumb, but it's smothered. Here's Montagna again, shoving it out, but Ward. Good tackle laid by Sinclair on Cameron. Turned it back over. There. Webster, Stephen. Wants to open it up if he can. And he faked nicely. Bruce, can he get there? Got it off hands. Tried to shrug off. Griffin had to get it out. Rewalt keeps his feet. Tries to run away with it. Dunstan.
Notice on the back of all the talk about sling tackles, there's some very careful tackling going on in those close confines.
Definitely noticeable, Dermot. Absolutely. Williams out to Sinclair, couldn't break away with it. Scully to Treloar.
It's funny you mentioned that, Dermot. There's a bit of training during the week with some AFL clubs about the momentum of tackle. The second movement was the conscious, when they're teaching techniques prior to the rule being thrown into question, it was the double movement, the dumping tackle.
Yeah.
So they've just addressed their technique on follow with the momentum, but don't a double movement.
That's that final whip they talk about in the tackle.
Treloar deserved the free there. Play on advantage. Hampton.
Yeah, they got the numbers.
Spike can go.
Feeds it off. Whitfield, big moment. Cameron's got two to beat, Robertson and Dempster. And Robertson and Dempster can combine here. Gee, Robertson didn't kick that well. Almost turns it back over. Farron Ray, the sub, now on. Takes it to the line. 1 minute left.
Yeah, really good work there. They're getting numbers to the contest, although the delivery from Robertson out of the back line wasn't great. They still had numbers at the contest, so 2-on-1 on that occasion and 2-on-1 when the ball was going towards Cameron as well.
Still, if you look at it, plus 50 possessions for the quarter, and they've only kicked the 3, St Kilda. They need to get a better return for that kind of commanding.
Nunes is on the outside, drives it long. Bruce is working hard to get there. Gathers on the bounce.
Good bounce.
Oh.
Sends a wobbler out on the full.
That's giving him the benefit of the doubt that maybe it was just that was a bad kick and it wasn't a shot at goal, because he had memory running back to the top of the goal square. But again, that's 18 inside 50s for the
3 goals.
3 goals, 3. So really poor conversion rate.
Buntine needs to be clever here. 40 seconds left. Longer and Downey. Almost Savage off hands.
This is
Devon Smith.
See, they would carry this in the first half, but they end up kicking.
McCarthy. We turned Fisher inside out. Bounced unkindly for him. Played for the free. Fisher had a little bit of him, but not a lot.
Good decision from the umpire not to get sucked in there.
Farron Ray to Montagna. And he can take the remaining seconds off the clock if he wants to. Armitage.
Gee, the Saints backmen have worked so hard. All 4 of them in that pocket where Fisher was right now, all doubled over, all bent over. They have worked so hard. They are completely spent. Now there's a play break with this boundary line throw-in, they jog out to their opponents. They work so hard to cover that forward thrust.
Dying seconds, Longer hands it back. Webster bangs it long. They have kept the Giants goalless in the third term, the Saints. They've ticked that box. And the stage is set for a massive final term. From 40 points down to trail by just 16 at three-quarter time. And you could hear a pin drop here during that third term when the Giants were held goalless. Crowd thought they were just about home. There's a spot in the top 8 up for grabs for the Giants. They're only 16 points up now after being 40 points up at one stage. 8, 56 to 5, 10, 40. And where would you like to start, guys? Outstanding quarter by a number of Saints. Probably Lee Montagna, one of the best of them.
Yeah, 14 disposals. He ran the ball really well and had plenty of support from Shane Savage off halfback as well.
Good run.
They were backing themselves to get into the corridor. They were hitting targets on most occasions. Lee Montagna, of his 14 disposals, he had 5 inside 50s. Actually, by foot, he still only went at 33%, so that's a little bit of an issue. But you saw the run that he was generating. As I said, the support from Savage meant that they were going inside 50 a lot more efficiently.
The catalyst also in the middle of the ground was the clearance work out of the centre. Don't discount how good Billy Longer was. Not only did he get 4 possessions, he had 3 clearances out of the centre square himself. His 2 opposition ruckmen didn't touch the footy.
Ben Dixon's downstairs. Ben, how have you seen it?
Well, Dwayne, it's an interesting third quarter. Saints came out, but I thought GWS dropped off with their pressure and support, and there's a little bit of vision we'll show of obviously how damaging their forwards are. Just when you see St. Kilda run the ball and Josh Bruce gets a run of it, no space. If you drop off with your midfield pressure, you open yourself right up, and as we can see here, Nick Riewoldt finds the space. But this bit of transition play, they didn't get this in the first half, but they've opened themselves right up, GWS. And when the Saints can walk through here, they do it as good as anyone. And we know how damaging their forwards are, but it's when the sneaky guys like Montagna get forward, as you said, dominated in that third quarter. They've got a lot of space. They're very damaging. They took 26 marks inside 50 last week against Essendon. It's a big last quarter coming up here. They need to tighten right up with their defence, GWS.
Make a great point there, Ben Dixon. And round 1, this is a return fixture. These 2 teams played in round 1, and St Kilda finished over the top of GWS. Even though the Giants won that game, they finished stronger. They just couldn't convert.
It's worth noting Nick Riewoldt spent a bit of time up behind the ball as well, got into the game after a quiet first half, had the 8 disposals, and many of those hit the target.
Ryan Griffin's gone forward for the Giants.
And a poor bounce to start the final term. We'll do it again.
And actually, Riewoldt was at 100% for that quarter by foot.
So Josh Bruce, can't see him out there. He's on the bench for the start of this quarter. Only one target player in the St Kilda forward line, and that is Nick Riewoldt for the start of this fourth quarter.
Cornelio caught. Scully, early momentum's going to be huge.
Ooh.
There's a dumping tackle, but it didn't knock him out.
So that's legal now? Because he didn't get knocked out.
I don't think it was a full 360 sling necessarily, but he did tackle him to the deck. I don't think that was as bad as Joe Schultz or Bryce Gibbs. But you can differ if you like to. Riewoldt there with Tomlinson. Downey with the reach. Dunstan with a roll. Stephen. Armitage. Membry hasn't seen a lot of it. Can't quite trap it here. Loney tried to flick it up. Stolen by Ward. Curly Hampton. He's got Cameron running for him in a one-on-one with Dempster. And he got there. But not a lot to go to. Griffin along with Robertson if he wants that. And he does want it. And a good fist from Robertson.
Still, the Giants are allowing the Saints to have that +1 in defence, and it just didn't work for them. The Saints certainly used that +1, the run, the short kicks, the handballs in the third quarter extremely well. I think I'd be pushing forward and matching up the spare.
So Robertson Quick kick to the wing. Rewalt read the bounce, but wrapped up and tried to manufacture a kick. Curtly Hampton put his head down there and then was tackled and then got it out. Treloar. Kick in hope. Downey knocked it away from Robin. Palmer. Dunstan. Got away from Devon Smith.
That's a good kick.
Isn't it a great kick?
Armitage.
There's the overlap again.
Farron Ray, who's got the run as the sub. And a big fist from Shaw this time.
See, Lee Montagna competing for that one. Started in the forward pocket. He sure goes back to him. Now, if that just turns into a one-on-one duel and Montagna has to come and meet the ball with his back to the goal, Shaw's going to gobble him up every time. He's well skilled in that play.
Callum Ward. Sorry.
Yeah, you think you want to get Montagna up into play. You're probably just giving him a chop-out rest at this point in time.
Looked a little high on Green. Wants to play onto advantage. Hands it up to Ryan Griffin. Had the option he could have gone to. Kick towards goal from Lobb.
Good pressure. Great chase from Geary, who did start as the extra.
Yeah.
Oh,
and stolen by Green. Horrible turnover. Made to pay.
Just an absolute lack of awareness from both Saints players. I would have thought Geary not to present up at the ball. He had no awareness of who was around him.
So what has to happen now is a senior St Kilda player has to get to him and say, you know what, that's just it's nothing to do with, you know, the play we are making at the moment. It's a skill error, a selection error, and it lasted one moment. It's not a strain of play that will lose us this game. We can rectify this.
First goal of the second half for the Giants. Jonathan Patton in the grandstand. You watched his second half, Dermot. He got a few touches. He looked okay.
Yeah, the good thing about him was that he got knocked around a bit and it didn't faze him. So he got 6 possessions, 1 goal.
In his return game in the reserves, which is good news. Farron Ray.
When I say got knocked about, he was in the contest and got buffeted a fair bit.
Hampton. Buntine. And Gilbert takes it to the line and leads for an out on the full from Canelio.
Now this is where young Tom Downey has the job up against Billy Longer now. Longer got 3 clearances third quarter. Downey didn't touch the footy. He's got to dig in here deep now.
Jack Steele. Over the head of Cameron and he's dangerous running back with it. Dempster. Cameron tracking him down. Looked a little in the backish from here.
That's heavy in the back.
That's a rib breaker. If that ball lands under him, that's broken ribs. Yeah. Yes, he gives you the shake off there. You ever had them, Lynchy?
Oh, absolutely.
200th game in a few weeks for Sean Dempster. And a great soldier for 2 clubs off his head.
One for the night.
Steele, Haynes, Canelio, Palmer. And he goes for home. Misses.
This is the first time in the second half the Giants have got a little bit of ownership of the footy for the last 90 seconds.
It doubled the possessions of the Saints, so 24-12. Just starting to control a few key indicators.
You mentioned Canelio in that bit of play, Dwayne. He's up to 15 tackles, so he's highest this year and the highest by any player. But 19's a record set by Jude Bolton. He's been outstanding today with his pressure.
Was that in a grand final, the Jude Bolton 19?
I don't
think he had a massive number in a grand final.
Yeah, I remember the night when I thought it was a night game. Anyway, we'll go to the books.
But it is a great performance so far to be up to 15. And there's still a bit of time left in this, 16 minutes.
Well, if they're to hold the Saints out here, he's going to have to add to it.
Farron Ray. Savage, will he launch it? Membry's at the back. Bruce is at the back. Good reach, knocked it down, but the mark paid front spot again
a lot of it,
from Core.
I think it was a combination, probably a bit over the shoulder as well, and the grab, which it probably shouldn't be, but
How damaging has Shane Savage been in this second half?
I mean, I think his run is really important. They need to get the ball in his hand.
It's been a while they've found his position off half-back around that sort of set-up play. Uses the ball pretty well, but he's had a frustrating couple of years. Been forward, been back, been the midfield, but I think this is really his niche right now.
Last year when they played against Fremantle, when they were way down the bottom, the Saints, and Savage had a really good game around that era, around that time. He had a good one that night. That's been sort of like the catalyst for his finding a home. Oh, that's going to hurt. Oh, gee, it's kind.
Different generations and era.
Stephen sends it long. Bruce up, hands strong.
They go back. That's a really good mark. Turnover. Mark inside 50. Really important for the big forward. He's got a bit of confidence under his belt in that third term for a quiet first half. His last set shot was a beautiful drop punt straight through.
You can pull the margin back to 18 points. Just over 14 minutes left for his second. Squeezed it in. Well, they were 40 points down earlier today. At three-quarter time, they were 16 down, and Alan Richardson spoke to the Saints at three-quarter time asking for something.
Just on the defence, the only time they look likely is when we forced them to punt to get every rebound. We've just got to make sure we get cover at the back. We've had to salvage a fair bit too. That's okay, but let's make sure if you can't fly, think about giving cover at the back. Really, you guys have spoken about that, so they just can't like that. So when there's a high ball go in and we're under pressure and that's all we can do, that's got to come to ground. That's what we've got to make their goals.
Just reinforcing that kill the contest. Don't let the ball over the back. Certainly working so far in this fourth term.
So Bruce sent into the ruck against Lobb.
I've just been to the phone and just checked round 3, 2011. Jude Bolton had 19 tackles.
Was it a night game? Can you get that far into it? I'm sure it was a night game.
Bartel had the record for a while after a grand final. Is that correct?
We'll go with that too. We're making it up.
2009 grand final it was. I can tell you for fact. Jimmy Bartel.
Well, Dwayne's Alison's making it up anyway. So.
No, it was a 6-10 start in Perth. There you go.
All right. So they've laboured up into the forward pocket.
Don't doubt Mr. Google. All about to be put back in. 46-64.
Look at them line up in front there.
Plenty of blocks going on.
Just waiting to put their snout into the trough as this ball just drops short.
Cornelio, little roller.
Good hit. Got it to the outside for pace. Didn't work for him, but good vision. Safe handball to the outside. So the man with pace, Jack Stevens, if he can't run onto it and get a kick down the line, he just shuffles it over the boundary line. Reload, reset up.
Three goals the margin. Ton of time left. Armitage rolled a kick away. Williams missed his target. Fisher, Weller, Stephen, push off, delightful. Wobbles one towards Membry. Can't bring it in. Stephen off the carpet. Bruce. Unkind bounce. Shaw.
Oh, he turned into that.
He did, and the umpire let it roll.
Gee, played it well in the end.
Yep.
Bun time. Who, the umpire or Shaw?
Shaw.
Cornelio.
Good presentation.
Had a couple of options inside. Trelaw, fantastic half volley. Handball not so good. Ward jumped on. Play on advantage. Trelaw, will he go for it? He goes for Cameron. And did hold it long enough. The mark was played, not the arm knock.
Look at the inquiry from
marginally. But again, I think he did have control.
He did stop the ball. He secured the ball. But there is a combination between securing it and how long it is in there for.
Here's the pass. Great work from Trelaw.
Callum Ward got some punishment after he did. He had to get that on. It's going to get close here.
For number 5. And there's a couple of Camerons pretty happy with that. Leon's the other one.
just answered the challenge in really important goal. Nice use going inside and multiple efforts from Adam Treloar. Probably the handball didn't hit the target, hit the back of the head of Coen Ward, but pass hits the target. And I think that's a mark. He had enough control there, I think.
Steve Coniglio pulling the trigger and bringing the ball back into the middle. Wasn't a perfect pass, but it was good enough that it could have been regathered for fair distribution forward.
Just consolidates his spot in the Coleman race in second position.
And it could be the difference between a W and an L in this one. 5 goals won so far for Jeremy Cameron. Kicked off the deck by Weller. Barreled forward by Griffin. He kept going. Took it all the way to the 50. Palmer slips the tackle. Treloar put the hammer down here. GWS. Steele lays a tackle. He dragged it in. The umpire let him off.
And that's all he could do. Drag it in. Jaron Geary. Geary. Watch it. Yeah, see, there you go. That is a beautiful dragging.
The umpire just annoyed them all
by saying he didn't drag it in.
He didn't drag it in. From the ball up, Coniglio flicks it wide. Steele, body on the line. Jumped into a gang tackle.
Coniglio's had a huge quarter. I mean, he's already up to 7 disposals. He's thrown himself at absolutely everything.
He's another out of contract at the end of the year as well. Back into the lineup this week, Stephen Coniglio. Ball thump clear. Montagna tracks it, paddles it.
Got to stay over it.
Stripped by Devon Smith. He pops it in Treloar's direction.
That was a big win. Montagna had to stay over that footy.
Wide. Crunch. They all go up and they all go down. 8 of them in a pile.
Lee Montagna hasn't moved from that contest on the wing. He's just walked back now. I wonder whether he spent himself in that third quarter. He had such a hard-running, good quarter of footy. Now, that's a pack.
Fisher got hit from 3 sides.
By 4 opponents.
There's Coniglio. Didn't find his toe with the ball. Palmer does. Straight up in the air. Play on's the call. Ward tries to claim the mark. That's the one, Dermot. You make out you thought it was 15 and didn't hear the call.
And he's got taken in the tackle. And the umpire applies the sorry rule. And I feel sorry for you, so I'll ball it up.
Did not make an attempt to get rid of it.
Of course, but that's what we do. We're the only sport who employs the sorry.
You can be guaranteed Callum Ward's played the game long enough to know that wasn't 15. Didn't even need the umpire to call play on. And he's dragged down off the ball, by the way. In the meantime, there's a scramble, and we'll get another ball up.
Massive players here.
There's some anger out there.
Callum Ward throwing his body around. Someone else gets thrown out the back. And down.
Robertson, I'm not sure where he was going, but he must have known someone was out the back. Stephen wide. Buntine. And thumps it long. McCarthy up way early. Couldn't bring it down. And Armitage out of play.
It was Devon Smith that was thrown out at the back of that pack and was down on his haunches for a few seconds.
Must be 20 players around this ball in.
Oh, that's hard work.
Geary.
This is real tough time, isn't it? It's sapping, it's draining. So if St Kilda win this, it is just willpower that will have them run the ball forward with run and carry.
Gilbert, Armitage had a knuckle on it. Towed away by Devon Smith. Steele.
So when I say if they win this, if they win the ball from this contest, it's almost like it's too draining to actually put a 100-metre run and carry from here. They're just going to have to hack it down the line. This is exhausting work.
Green, caught, wrapped up.
Not pretty, but it's exhausting.
And the Giants are happy, as Nick Riewoldt has a spell, but they're happy just to soak the pressure up, soak up the minutes on the clock.
Fisher, third man up, knocked it down towards Gilbert and Armitage. Gilbert keeps it running outside 50, gets it back again, gains 20 metres, loses it. Palmer, Scully, handball smothered. 50-50 ball again. Montagna tried to steal it. Kirtley, Hampton, clever. Back to Buntine. Good use of the body, Green, not quite. Couldn't quite pull it in. He's had a big last quarter, though. Set it all up.
Left
Palmer around the body, full forward. McCarthy started the game well. He's had a long lean patch.
Well, the ball has just been camped in the forward 50 for the GWS. The Saints haven't been able to run it out, and whether it's a free kick or a scrappy kick
was
forward to a mark.
a bit, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Just kept the ball there. Something pops up. And the Giants are going to make it really tough for the Saints.
For his second 5-goal margin.
Oof.
Gee, made the goal umpire work. Goal umpire's done a hamstring.
He is lucky he kicked from 12 metres out. Had it been 14, that might have been enough to bring that angled kick into play. But they just absorbed punch after punch, so to speak. That's a left footer's route running through to the centre of the ground.
We saw Dempster on the ground just trying to get the ball out of that congestion. Didn't get a clean handball and straight to the Giants, and it was Palmer that snapped it around.
It's interesting in the Giants forward line, they're set up, two huddles inside forward 50. One big, look at that. That's almost Port Adelaide.
Armitage put his head down, couldn't get the free. Dunstan off the deck. Hampton ran into Weller. Both Saints players shepherded for each other. Williams got it from Hampton to Cornelio, back to Hampton. He's delivered as the sub. He's given them something since coming on. Goes long, McCarthy. Couldn't quite. And Robert in front spot.
That is consistent umpiring.
And brave from Robertson to take the front position.
Yep.
Good bit of play by the Giants there. That was the flip side of St Kilda last quarter, was their run and carry. They've had plus 13 handball receives, 24 more disposals, so they've got their run back, and they haven't quite closed games out in recent weeks, so this will be a good finish for them.
Time ticking down on the Saints now. The clock's against them as well as the scoreboard. Savage, Robertson has a bounce. Cameron's tracking him. He got him. One too many bounces, and that could be the game.
Why did Jimmy Webster scream, "You are hot, you are hot"?
It was the right amount of bounces, but a shepherd wouldn't have gone astray.
A shepherd or a scream, watch it here.
Yeah, needed to be a shepherd.
That's not a shepherd. And he saw him.
Well, it's great to kick goals, as Jeremy Cameron's done. 5 for the afternoon. But that chase down tackle might have saved the goal and saved the game. Ward.
Pretty complete game for Jeremy.
McCarthy and long ago at this. Off hands Griffin will put hard into the deck. Loney. Shrugs the tackle from Steele.
Here we go again.
Dunstan. Dempster. Gilbert. Out of play. We're inside 7 minutes to full time.
It was a good solid tackle from Nunes. Just the
wasn't
ribs
it?
were open from Griffin and just put the shoulder in very hard.
There's been 3 or 4 Pearl Harbor tackles today, hasn't there? Just out of the blue.
Bang, short throw.
There's been a few of those that have been picked off today as well. Armitage didn't look like a handball. Griffin. And it's up through 4 behind.
After that last Nunes tackle, Ryan Griffin got that one onto boot fairly quickly.
Half a step.
Got to dig something out here, the Saints. Now, this is in the third quarter. From here, they had run. They got to get the cross here, and they are a chance to get a bit of run. They get over there. Schneider's gets on the bike.
And then to aggressively take on the corridor now. There's the kick.
Cool.
So Dunstan to Fisher. With a wide runner, Farron Ray. Gilbert is running away from goal, and he collected it and got under it. And a good mark against the flow by Tomlinson.
Handy play back in the side after being out for about 10 or 11 weeks, Derm.
He is Adam Tomlinson. He's one of the young breed. He was one of the original draftees, so early 20s now, but a big body and just a mature head on his shoulder.
Oh, he waited and Palmer wrapped him up, got him high.
Okay, Reece.
That was nice of the umpire to say, I thought.
Yeah, so I think I might have mucked that one up.
In my opinion, the decision is...
Membry again had a piece of it, but not enough of it to get a possession. Schneider flicks the handball, overcooked it. Devon Smith, this is somebody else's problem.
It's got a one-on-one. Oh, hang on.
Weller just came off the bench. Now, Green's got a couple of beat here, and well, the tackle looked okay initially, but not okay, go to the umpire.
What it has done, though, Dwayne, it has worked for the Giants insofar as it's given them chance and time, a chance to reset. Well done, Josh Bruce.
Bruce marks. The time ticking down now.
It's worked into the game all right, Joshy Bruce. First half, he was beaten for his position. But we just know he's just got such a big motor for a big fella. He's going to keep presenting. He's going to keep running the angles in the forward line. Not bad.
It's fading a little. Fades a lot late.
And so at half-time, he only had the one kick and two handballs. But worked hard.
What's he up to now? He's got the 11.
Yeah. 2 goals.
Pete Shaw's been pretty valuable in the
it.
second half. The team's been under pressure. He's actually taken it on himself to take on the onus.
Lob. A couple of hands on it.
That would be stiff, but it could have been out the full, that one, actually. But Pete Shaw's had an incredible year. I mean, we know his offensive work. He's defended really well. Knows when to leave his man, both offensively and defensively, to support his teammates.
They needed some experience to be added to their squad to lift them up the ladder, and that's exactly what's happened.
Beautifully rode by Montagna.
Oh, gee, Bruce had that, and he spent it before he'd earned it. Tomlinson off the deck. Bruce collects. Takes the step. Unselfishly to Schneider. Crunch.
One in the head.
Green got him.
Hey, Benny Dixon.
Green's having a chat to the umpire as Schneider plays on quickly to Ray.
Benny, Nick Revolt is still on the bench. You cannot leave Nick Revolt off for this amount of time. There's something's got to be wrong.
Well, I thought the same thing, didn't I? I've been watching closely. He hasn't been chatting to doctors or physios or anything. He's just been sitting there the whole time. Been having a chat to a few players as they come off, but no medical attention to speak of, so I'll be intrigued to know why he's been off for so long.
He's sitting back with his arms folded across his chest, which the body language suggests, I'm done.
So Farron Ray, the sub. Well, I suppose Cleveland rest LeBron when the game's over too, save him for the next game.
Well, I think that was it. The cumulative minutes through the season, they may have felt we're done here.
That's a gutsy kick in.
Just as we mentioned, Rewalt, the trainer has moved back his legs because that's as far as I could see. He's actually got some ice on his right ankle. So I think that's why he's been out of the game.
You can't throw it to yourself and then keep playing on as Whitfield tried to do then.
Well, at least he knows the rule now. I didn't.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on Nick Rewalt on the boundary line in the meantime. Savage steps inside and didn't go for it. Was unselfish. Was in range. Stephen has the shot. And only a behind.
That's a miss. Stevens had another pretty good game. He's had up to 28 disposals. By foot, like a lot of his teammates, a bit low, 38%.
Treloar.
Yeah, his metre, if you were to take into account metres gained, I reckon Jack Stevens is about half the value he would normally give you.
Yeah.
Cornelio.
And right now is why to me, St Kilda are fatigued a little bit here, and that is why I think with your sub, when you pull your sub like Farron Ray, I reckon you should get to the final siren and your sub, free kick, your sub should just be fatiguing on the final siren, so you get full value of him being up and running at full tilt pace for the entirety of the time he's on.
Yep. Speaking of subs, boys, Dylan Shields actually back on the bench now. He's had the scan, he's come back, just walked past us then, and he's hopefully be okay. So still a bit proppy just walking, but obviously he's cooled down now.
Little step from Kirtley Hampton. Can play Kirtley Hampton.
Ward to Griffin. And they put a little bit of icing on this cake.
He wants Cameron Long.
Cameron's probably going to have a couple to beat, although put it to grass. Gee, the third man didn't come over the top. They just waited down for the crumb. Griffin. Hampton. Cameron's on the lead again. Kirtley wants to go all the way himself. Williams, sidestep was good. Loses the tackle. And the shake and bake works. He loves it.
He's done some nice things today. I haven't seen a lot of him in the past, but
he's all right, Zachy Williams. Yep.
Took some nice marks in particular in the first half, and it looks like he
capitalised them. But you watch Kirtley Hampton. There are two players 3 metres apart, and they are defensive side of Kirtley Hampton. And he gives that little sidestep, shake and bake, and then splits them. And with acceleration off the mark, goes through.
The tension gone out of the coach's box for the GWS Giants. As we have a look at the ladder, and the Giants in the 8.
And as it stands here, with Hawthorn still to play, and who knows, they could go down to Fremantle, only 1 win from 4th spot. So it's well and truly alive for this team to play in their first final series in club history and maybe get a home final here. And I'm told if they get the right for a home final, they won't be playing it at ANZ or at the SCG if they get their way. They'll be playing it right here, whether it's against Collingwood or anyone. Palmer.
You look at Jarangiri there now on the mark. You look at those Saints backmen bent over, hunched over. The fatigue that's in them now, the comeback just took so much out of them. And the fact that, what do they have, 1 or 2-7 late in the second quarter? And it was just a bridge too far for them to fight back from there. When that third quarter, when they defended down in that pocket, and they were just stuffed from chasing that hard. They didn't get burnt on that play, but it really fatigued them.
Reece Palmer sprays that.
It's a good effort for the Giants. They showed plenty of good signs last week. Over the course of the entire month, there's been some concerns about their ability to transition from deep defence. The scores against were starting to really mount up, but fantastic to get back in some form. And they'll be wrapped to win this one.
They took a while to sort themselves out with the initial loss of Shane Mumford. They got bashed up by Todd Goldstein 3 games ago, but now they've got some replacements. Rory Lobb on screen, and Big Tom Downey has been able to step in and assist, but they break a 3-game losing streak here today.
And they are, with the Western Bulldogs, the big improver of 2015. 16th last year with 6 wins. That was their best ever finish in club history. Right now they're up to 8th spot on the ladder with 8 wins for the season and 8 home and away games left. On track for their first ever final series. Dylan Shield with some issues hamstring wise. One of the stars of the show was Jeremy Cameron, and he's downstairs with Ben Dixon.
Thanks, Dwayne. Jeremy, we spoke to Liam before the game. The bye came at a good time because you had to reassess your season, and the starts were a big issue, but today it was obviously what you wanted.
Yeah, definitely. Just before the bye we had a few injuries, which is unfortunate, but it gives the guys like Tom Downey, Rory Lobb that come into the side, they battle hard, and they're great young players, so it's great to play beside them, and it's great to get off to a good start early in the game.
Early with your pressure, I mean, it caught St Kilda out a little bit because you squeezed your numbers up, and as a forward you were actually right nearly in defensive 50. To saturate, it's something you worked on pretty hard through the week.
Yeah, definitely. We actually looked at them like every team does, but they really brought the pressure last week, and we wanted to get on top early, so it was a big focus for us early in the game.
And that quick ball movement gives you guys a chance. You kicked your 5, and obviously with Cameron as well. But, I mean, the forward line's functioning well. You're getting some midfielders through to kick goals as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's what we want. We want a good mix through the forward line. And like you said, when we move it quick through the corridor, gives us a chance one-on-one, and that's what we did today.
off the back of last week, the close game to Richmond. What did you identify during the week that's pivotal? I mean, you're in the 8 tonight, but obviously there's a lot of work to go through the season.
Yeah, definitely. We just looked at a few little areas, but like I said before, it was probably just the pressure around the ball. Our contested ball was down in recent weeks. We built that up well against Richmond last week and then really brought it into today's game.
You boys find a little yard here when you come back to Spotless Stadium to play?
Yeah, we love playing up here. Obviously, early in the year, we played down in Canberra a little bit because of the showgrounds, but when we get up here in front of a nice little crowd, it's building here at the Giants and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, on the boundary line, felt like fishing weather. Got that breeze coming in off the right. Dartmoor, a bit of fishing.
Yeah, it might be a bit rough out there at times, but I don't mind that either.
Good on you, Jeremy. Well done.
No worries, thank you.
Jeremy Cameron, 5 goals, 1 and a couple of huge tackles. And there's one of the other stories. Nick Riewoldt came off at about the 15-minute mark of the final term. Dermot looks as if it's probably a calf, not Achilles, so might be okay. It's not hobbling.
No, but when he came off, I thought it was a strange look. We didn't see the ice then. It was obviously hidden from our view, and Benny Dixon's down on the boundary. But when a player leans back in his seat on the interchange and crosses his arms, you never see that if the player's thinking, I'm good to go back on in 2 or 3 minutes. And that indicated that he was done for the night, for the day. 13 possessions for Nick Riewoldt, 5 of them contested, 6 marks. 1 was a contested grab. So, worked hard. He was up against Adam Tomlinson, who came into the game. Now, Tomlinson's a big kid. He's been out for a couple of months, but he is just a physical and anaerobically gifted beast. You know, he's up around the 16 beeper, so he had somebody who, for most occasions, was able to stay with him in the running patterns that Nick hands out each week.
Led for most of the afternoon. Greater Western Sydney Giants opened up a 40-point lead at one stage, and then the Saints came at them with 4 goals in a row, but they steadied in the final term and got home by 35 points. They're 8th on the AFL ladder. Stick around, we'll be back to wrap up straight after the break.